Bati, glow, you are Bati, Elizana Cummings, Bati, Zekwe, CPP, Zekwe, Charlene Broski, Zekwe, I want, za. Party house. Stand up the road, stand up the road. Well. Who you want? My Liberian people, who you want? Our market women crying, who you want? Our Ghana boys are crying, who you want? Handkerchief. Take out your white handkerchief. Let's go. Everybody sing go far. Whoa. Look back at the say that come in where we want. But me can't come in where we want. Very like that come in where we want. Nima can't come in where we want. Basa can't that come in where we want. Kevin can't that come in where we want. Bobo we I say that come in where we want. Regular can't that come in where we want. My Liberian people, who you want? Musability, I say who you want. Mama Teresa Cummings, who you want? I am little Mona, how you want? Well. CPP, oh yeah. Adebe. Oh. ANC Global, oh yeah. Mommy can't tell who you want. Papa the country, that who you want. Salo can't tell that who you want. Rebel G can't tell that who you want. I am little Yakula, who you want. A butter well who you want. If I join your party that full, that why your colors be, I think your colors be with everybody. My Liberian people, who you want? My Yana boss, who you want? My girl women, that who you want? My better. Bati, glow, you are Bati, Elizana Cummings, Bati, Zekwe, CPP, Zekwe, Charlene Broski, Zekwe, I want, za. Party house. Stand up the road, stand up the road. Well. Who you want? My Liberian people, who you want? Our market women crying, who you want? Our Ghana boys are crying, who you want? Handkerchief. Take out your white handkerchief. Let's go. Everybody sing go far. Whoa. Look back at the say that come in where we want. But me can't come in where we want. Very like that come in where we want. Nima can't come in where we want. Basa can't that come in where we want. my country, that Cummings what we want, oh. Papa, we I say, that Cummings what we want. Regular country, that Cummings what we want. My Liberian people, who you want. Musa Belete, I say, who you want. Mama Teresa Cummings, who you want. I am the Mona, how you want. Ah, well. CPP, oh yeah, oh yeah. Adabra, Adabe, oh. ANC Global, oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh, oh. Mommy can't tell who you want. Papa the country, that who you want. Salo can't tell that who you want. Rebel G can't tell that who you want. I am the Yakula who you want. And Butterwell who you want. If I join your party that full, that why your colors be, I think your colors be with everybody. My Liberian people who you want. My Yana boss who you want. My girl winning that who you want. My better.
Okay, folks, welcome and welcome to SKTV. Welcome this morning, welcome this afternoon to some of you, welcome this evening. We are working on bringing the guys on from Liberia any moment from now. Also, Siku and Mr. Cummings will be joining us momentarily. But in the meantime, while we are setting up and gearing up here for the show, let's have you share the show today. We have some serious national issues and discussions as Mr. Cummings kicks off campaign, visiting us here on SKTV today. Scores of things to talk about. We have lots of things to talk about here today. Let's share the show. Let's invite other people. Today's Sunday the 6th of August, 2023. The time here is 11 a.m. We are here from Phoenix, Arizona. A lot of things to talk about. A lot of prevalent issues. Mr. Cummings' pathway to the presidency. Mr. Cummings' most recent sessions, such as job creations, restoring the rule of law, justice. Basically, Mr. Cummings' agenda for Liberia. We will get into that. You will have the opportunity at some point to interact with Mr. Cummings, whether it's through call in or sending messages or whatever not. But guess what? We are here. We are getting set up. It promises to be very, 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 very interesting. Very interesting. Thank you to all of you for sharing the show. As always, this is SKTV. Our viewers and our listeners from around the world, we say welcome to this edition. Welcome to the show today. Welcome to the show. Today, Very interesting, very important conversations here as we get started. Like I said, Siku will be joining us very, very, very soon here. That includes Melbourne. I see that many of you are dancing Mr. Cummings' newest music or newest song from Friday, the Cell Phone Man. I have said it on my page. I think that song is very interesting. I listened to the wordings. Very, very interesting. And I'm a little biased because Friday is one of my favorite Liberian musicians. One of my favorite Liberian musicians. I love his songs. I do. I would have to admit, opening with clear heart. So let's let's share the show. We'll be right back. Let's give you some of the music sounds that you were listening to. We'll be right back here. Give us a second as we can settle some things here. We'll be right back. Don't you dare change the dial, as Melbourne will always say. Invite your friend. Those of you who are watching from far and near, invite someone. You'll join us. Let's have this conversation with Mr. Alexander B. Cummings here soon.
Bati, Elizana Cummings, Bati. Zekwe, CPP, Zekwe, Charlene Broski, Zekwe. I want, za. Party house. Stand up, well. Who you want? My Liberian people, who you want? Our market women crying, who you want? Our Ghana boys are crying, who you want? So handkerchief. Take out your white handkerchief. Let's go. Everybody sing go far. Whoa. Look back at the say that come in where we want. But me can't come in where we want. Very like they come in where we want. Nima can't come in where we want. Basa can't that come in where we want. Get my can't that come in where we want. Papa we there, I said that come in where we want. Regular can't that come in where we want. My Liberian people, who you want? Musability, I say who you want. Mama Teresa Cummings, who you want? I am little Mona, who you want? Well. CPP, oh yeah. Adabre. Oh. ANC Global, oh yeah. Mommy can't tell who you want. Papa no can't tell who you want. Son of can't tell who you want. Rebel G can't tell who you want. I am a Yakula who you want. And but who you want. If I join your party that fall, now why your colors be? I think your colors be with everybody. My Liberian people, who you want? My Yana boss, who you want? My girl women, that who you want? My better.
So I want to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome you to SKTV once again. Today is another day. Uh, Today is Sunday, August 6th, 2023. And today we are privileged to have Mr. Alexander Cummings with us. He will be running a little late. He will be here very soon. I want to encourage all of you to share the show. Go ahead and share the show, folks. Whether you're watching us on YouTube, whether you're watching us on SKTV Live or SKTV, we are working on making sure we have the radio on. Hopefully, they will be connecting with us very soon. Steve, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well, Mr. Kane. I'm upbeat, anticipating something new because we're in campaign season.
So, Steve, while you're doing this, I want to see if you can check on Melbourne and other guys on the list to see what's going on.
Sure, please. Please. Yes, like I was saying to Sekou earlier, I'm upbeat. The fact that we're in campaign seasons here speaks volume, and it also speaks to the fact that we are nailing it down to the issues, to policies, and also fact checking and double checking some stuff here before we get into the conversation. Other conversation we've held in the past, in as much that they are very important, but at this point in time, we want to know exactly what you're going to do for the Liberian people. We could care less about bouncing around, jumping around, wearing T-shirt, toting caskets around, making all the noise you want to make. That's not important. That is not important. If you feel you've already won an election, you want to be jubilant, you want to be celebrating around, you want to be fooling around, that's up to you. But we want to discuss the issue. What are your policies? What are your records? What have you done in the past to effectuate change, whether it's in Liberia or around the world? We want to know those things. We want to know what you intend to do, how you intend to do them. Can you be trusted? Again, what are some of your records? We're not going to fool around. If you think we're going to do the regular thing, you're wasting your time. If you think we're going to hang around, no, that's not going to be happening. It's not going to be happening. Let's bring on Milborn here. Milborn, good afternoon, good evening to you. Milborn is getting settled in there with us here, just joining us. So like I was saying, we are in campaign seasons. We're in campaign time. We have less time to fool around. So we're going to be asking essential questions. We're going to be focusing and zooming on policies, ways you're going to get things done. Look, listen, if you want to come and jump around and take your party and you're getting a car and be on the ring and be making noise and celebrating, that's up to you if you feel you've already won. But we want to know what you can do for the Liberian people. We will scrutinize your record to the teeth. We will. Because this is campaign time. We want to know what we can hold you accountable for at this stage so that when you become president, we can bring these things up. Mr. Kane, is up to you. And welcome back. Welcome to Melbourne. Melbourne, welcome to the show this afternoon. Welcome to our people. Those of you listening to us on radio, in radio land over there in Liberia, welcome and welcome. We are planning a conversation here with Mr. Cummings, who should be coming on any moment from now. But in the meantime, let me turn it over to Sekou really quick. Sekou, you're muted.
Yes, so thank you, Steve. Thank you very much. And thank you, Melbourne, for showing up, even though I was beating on your back right now. Yeah.
At that time, I was transitioning, so I couldn't easily answer. You know, when in a making room, it can be easy.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's better late than never. Like Steve was saying, Mr. Cummings is going to be on here today. So he's running a little bit late, but he will be very, very soon. But Melbourne, how you doing? What's going on in Liberia?
Thank you, Sekou and Steve. Let me say a pleasant good evening to all of you who are following us. especially for those of you who always burning your data to follow SKTV, and for those of you who also burning your meter, now and then we have a list because the rainy season, so it's not easy now. We are enjoying. So I want to say thank to all of you for always following Truth FM as far as Sierra Liberia, and the Africa coast and other Guinea border. Let me say thank to all of you. Yeah, indeed, Segu. Today is the 6th day, which of course today mark the 2 in Liberia since the campaign started, and is the 8th month. Yes, relatively we are good. Liberia is going good, even though we are politically charged. Well, yesterday we saw people were toting caskets, moving about with our own campaign activities and so on. But we are moving great. Today is the first Sunday, and for those of all who are Christians, we found ourselves today in various churches, place of worship, including some politicians. And my brother Steve was talking yesterday. I don't want to go down, but we are doing great. And the weather is also good here for us today. I think the sun is shining here, Seku, and that is Steve. And we cannot wait because we want to have Liberians are all glued to the radio to listen to Mr. Elizana Cummings of the CPP.
All right. Yeah. Wait just a second. Let me respond to this call right here.
So, Melbourne, while Sekou is responding to that call and getting ready here to settle some things in terms of in the back end there, it's good to be back on SKTV. Those of you from Liberia will say welcome. Welcome and welcome. Those of you from Liberia listening to us today is Sunday. Just a quick reminder: the 6th of August 2022. Timestamp here is 11:24 a.m. in Phoenix, Arizona. Welcome to this edition. Without any waste of time here, I think Mr. Cummings is getting settled in the back end, so we will make sure he's settled in and have him on time. And just for the record, Mr. Cummings did alert us that he would run late, and this is one of the very first times, so we wanted to reinforce that and let you guys know it wasn't deliberate. We were aware, and we knew the time frame, just so we know. Mr. Cummings, up to you, please.
Yeah, thank you so much, Steve.
Yeah, so quickly before you go, the time issue, I think second 1 minute, please check our date on the headline for today.
What? They say what? The 8th?
You want to tell back? You want
2021? Oh, okay. We'll fix that. You're 2023.
So that means they got 2 years to the election?
No, the politician, any mistake may want to be corrected.
Yeah, but that one take us no time to fix. So we are making sure we fix that right away. Maybe I too sharp.
Yeah, and because the politicians were not the minute they got sleep. Saying yesterday, so the minute. Yeah.
Okay. So let's waste no time. Let's bring Mr. Cummings on. Before we do that, we always do this a quick housekeeping. We respect our guests, we respect our audience. So when we have an interview, we always expect people to come with opposing view. We're not going to come here to agree with Mr. Cummings on everything, but please let's disagree in respect and a courtesy for each other. You can call in when we open the lines to ask your question, but I want everybody to be respectful so that other people who are here that we call silent majority, they too can be here and enjoy the show, enjoy the conversations, so they can take away something. This is about our country. And this is one of the most consequential elections in the history of our country. We either make it right and be good, and all go, we'll do the wrong thing and then go bad for a very long time. We don't want that. So I want to say thank you to all of you. And some of you who are going to be here for the first time, we have our Cash App and Zelle number up there. Your contribution to SKTV is needed and is valuable to us. We appreciate everybody for supporting SKTV. So we're not going to be announcing people that are contributing during the show. After the show, after the interview, we will announce everybody. If you don't want your name to be called, if you contribute, just say no name. We'll not call your name, but we'll announce everybody and thank you people for contributing to SKTV. With that said, we're going to bring Mr. Cummings on right away so we can kickstart the conversation. Oh, wait now, how come you, Mr. Cummings, wearing the shin shirt?
Yeah, I was wondering, you didn't tell Steve and Mayborn, you didn't give them the memo?
Well, you didn't tell me you were going to wear it.
Huh? Steve, you didn't get it.
You didn't tell me you're going to wear it. You're going to wear it.
Memo?
No, not at all.
But Sekou.
I want to take my own out because I don't want to be in the same photo.
Seriously. So,
Maybe what you think? I should go take it off?
Indeed, because we don't want people to see to be thinking that maybe you are, you know.
But Mr. Cummings, what's your recommendation? Take it off or keep it on?
Keep it on. It's pure coincidence.
Yeah, I'm shocked.
No, but when I betray the struggle, why you tell me?
Yeah, but anyway, Mr. Cummings, thank you very much for showing up again to SKTV. To your credit, all the political leaders and people who are running for president, you have appeared on SKTV more than everybody else. And most of these appearances are from us. We invite you all the time. Whether it's on short notice, whether you have time, you have always responded positively. So we must say this, and we appreciate it. We appreciate it because it adds value to our platform. Not only you, every prominent Liberians, whether they are business people, politicians, every time they come on the show, it adds more value to our platform because we, on SKT, we discuss issues, we discuss substance. You know, so every time you come here, we really, really appreciate it. But once again, I know you're in Liberia, but how are you doing in the family?
We're doing fine, thank you, Sekou. And I think you guys, either one of you, always start with that question. I appreciate it. But Teresa is fine, my wife. We're both here on the ground. Our children, I and Borga, are both well. In fact, they will be coming in the not too distant future to come and help us campaign, my daughter and son. The grandchildren are also all well. So we thank God everybody's in good health. My mother will be 95 this August 15th. Wow. So we thank God for her, my sisters as well. So no, thank you for asking, but we're all fine.
Thank you. So, Mr. Cummings, I know the campaign started yesterday, and we have seen a lot going on. So, what is your mood right now? What's going on?
I am very, very, very optimistic. You know, yesterday it rained very hard. I don't know if you guys saw it. I mean, it was almost the entire day. But we kicked it off. I made a speech sort of summarizing the case, if you will, for why I'm asking Liberians to give me the opportunity to serve them as their leader. And so I made a case for Councillor Bronski and I. It was about 25-minute speech to the press, radio, online, etc. And then we had a musical jamboree. You know, many Liberian artists have made songs on our behalf voluntarily. So we got many of them together yesterday at the CPP headquarters, where we had a musical jamboree. It went very well. Again, the crowds were not as large as we had hoped because of the rain and the downpour. But the mood is optimistic. We're excited. We are confident. In fact, the team is working now as we speak, finalizing our activities for the next 65 days or so. And so many Liberians will begin to see me in their communities, in their villages, in their neighborhoods. We will start putting up our billboards. We are printing posters, stickers, all these things around visibility. We're planning the tours of the different counties, villages around the country. So I'm excited. I'm confident. I know we got a lot of work to do, but I'm prepared to do the work. So I'll be seen across the length and breadth of Liberia. Of course, the media will help amplify it. So whether it's radio, social media, print media, but it's exciting. I describe it, Sekou, Steve, and Mayborn, as we've been running this marathon, right? And if you follow marathons, we in that part where you start to sprint. Until now you kind of pacing yourself. You want to make sure you're among the top two or three, literally. You want to be in the top two, three, and we're in the top two, three, right? One, two, three. Now it's the sprint to the finish. So now is not the time to get tired. Not the time is not to waver, to get discouraged. We got to run to the finish, and we're confident we'll be successful.
Thank you so much. You know, our second question today is not coming from me. It's coming from one of our audience and one of your fans, one of your many, many fans. So this person asks, they are bothered by a question about Cummings being vice president for somebody. The person is a female. She says, the way the campaign started today or yesterday, can you please let Mr. Cummings answer this question in public once and for all so we can lay this to rest? When Mr. Cummings asks, because we're going to get to the campaign discussion right now, but this person asking me now there is no more return. But can Mr. Cummings, because people have been talking about these things behind the scene over and over and over. So can Mr. Cummings answer this question for the public at least? Let's put this to rest. At any point in time, Mr. Cummings, will you ask by Mr. Joseph Nima Boakai, Ambassador Joseph Nima Boakai, to be his running mate by any means whatsoever?
No, I was never directly asked by the former vice president, Joseph Numa Boakai, to be his vice president. Never directly asked at any point in time. So, look, it's academic now, as you say. That's neither here nor there. But to answer the question, yes, I can say that emphatically with clear conscience, never directly asked to be his VP. And so let's move on. The race is now between three people: Alexander Cummings, Joe Boakai, and George Weah. No offense to the other candidates. Any polling you do in Liberia today, we are the top three, and now we're in this sprint, right? And may the best man win.
So now the sprint. So are you telling us now? We know very well you have been working, your team been working, but by the way, you have been doing more campaigning, or maybe more outreach, if you will, before today than Joseph Nima Boakai or George Weah, the top three. But then some people still feel like you're not doing enough. So what do you think is the problem, and what kind of commission or what kind of team commission we're going to see moving forward from today up to the election day?
Yeah, look, it's a good point, and I like to be fact-based, right? And we have not done a good job. We, meaning the CPP, meaning the ANC, meaning Alexander Cummings, because the buck stopped here. In the whole media, propaganda, communication space, the other two sides, frankly, have done a better job. So even though I think we've been doing more work, more reach out, more projects, etc., than the other two main contenders, there's a perception we're not doing enough, or we haven't been doing enough. And so we have to be honest with ourselves. What that means is the other side have done more with less. meaning their propaganda, their media, their comms have been more effective than us. That's something we're going to change literally almost starting tomorrow. So in addition to doing the actual work that I've been doing and now Councillor Charlene Bronsky has been doing around the country, we will make sure we get the acknowledgement and the credit through our media outreach, through our propaganda, so Liberians can actually see and understand the contrast and can appreciate the work we've been doing. But again, unless they say if you're alcoholic, you don't admit you're alcoholic, you will never get sober, right? So we haven't done a good job. That's a fact, and I gotta own that. But we gotta change that again, starting tomorrow, starting tonight, with you guys. We're gonna start to change that dynamic.
Okay, that's fair enough. I'll ask you one more question. Then I'll go to Steve.
For the bread and butter question, right?
Yeah,
Or the
this
soup
is
and fufu.
yeah. So this whole idea of you're not doing enough, even though you've been doing a lot. You have done more appearances in every social media than any other person running for president. But yet, see, you're not doing good. What are you doing in terms of getting the support of the young people, women, market women in particular, every Liberian that think actually that change is needed in Liberia? What are you doing for them to gravitate towards you? What are you doing moving forward to really speak to their emotion, to speak to their conscience, as to actually, this is the man that we want right now in Liberia? What are you doing? And what are you going to do?
Yeah, so great question, Sekou, and that's why it starts with admitting what your opportunities are, and then you can do something about it. So just today, literally, right between when I got back from Bomi and when I came on the show for the 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, I got back right around 6:05, and I met with some young people about how they can help me reach out to more young people. And because the time was very short, they're coming back to visit with me tomorrow evening, where we'll spend more time. They will bring more of their colleagues, but they will help me in the media, social media, so we can connect better, we can tell our story better. They will become almost advocates for me. They can tell my story better in their own words to connect. And then with women, I would say though we have done well with women. In 2017, we did, right? Most of our voters were women by all polling. Even if you do polling now, most of our voters are still women. So youth is where we have some opportunity, and as I mentioned, we're addressing that. But the women piece has been a strength. We just need to build on that. And so we're going to be engaging them more. We'll be visiting more marketplaces around the country. We'll get more market women to endorse and support us in the next few weeks here. So that's in the works as well. So women have been a strength, and we will build on it. Youth have been an opportunity, and we're addressing that as we speak, in the next 60 days. The good news, Mayborn, Sekou, and Steve, is that in most of the polling we've seen, a majority of Liberians are still undecided. And that is, excuse me, that is our opportunity. And generally, elections are won, in the last 2 days, last 2 weeks, excuse me. You got to do the work up to that, but people actually decide, in the last week or two, who is actually going to vote for. And so the opportunity is there for us. And we'll make sure we seize that opportunity.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cummings. Let's go to Steve.
Thank you, Sekou. Mr. Cummings, it's good to have you back on SKTV. Welcome back again to SKTV. As you are not a stranger here, you've been here, like Mr. Kane said earlier, more than once. Just before we get into the conversation here, I want to
I don't know. I'm hearing some background noise. I don't know if it's coming from you or where. We started talking. Yeah. I want to make sure your question go across clearly. Go ahead.
So I think I'm not sure who it's coming from, but it's an outside noise.
Why?
So Mr. Cummings, most recently, something I know we're talking about the campaign, but this has to do with the campaign and it has to do with Liberia and the rule of law and so forth. Most recently, the Governance Commission in Liberia, um, one of their lawyers, in person of Yellow,
Hold on one second. I'm going to mute Mr. Cummings. Once you finish your questioning, then I'll open up I'll mute him so he can respond to you. Okay.
yeah, sure. Thank you, Sekou. So most recently, he's part of the Good Governance Commission in Liberia, or however you want to call it. And I believe he's also, you know, in the leadership there. But he did something strange, and I just want to read and get a reaction really quick here. This is what he posted on Facebook. Um, Quote, I'm personally endorsing President George M. Weah for re-election, and I would actively work to persuade my constituents to support him as well. However, it is essential that we adhere to the rules of fair play in our political endeavors. Baseless accusations against me will not serve any constructive purpose. My question to you is, what do you say about someone who's serving on the Good Governance Commission, a lawyer, and the Good Governance Commission should be neutral, as is stipulated in their the act that created them. But here is this man openly declaring support for President George Weah, and we are even told that he's been named, on a campaign team or whatever now of President George Weah. What do you say about this?
Yeah, so unfortunately, Steve, it reflects more broadly what has happened to our country under the leadership of President Weah. I mean, everything has been politicized. Things, people that should be professional in their endeavors, everything is just being politicized, and it shows, the kind of government we have, the kind of leader President Weah is. I mean, you recall even at one of the rallies, the EPS guys had on CDC T-shirts,
Mhm.
right? When they should be professionals protecting the president. In people allege that the entire leadership of the National Police Force, rather than being professional, are CDC partisans. So they politicize that institution. And it's going on and on. If you look at the Electoral Commission, the NEC, National Electoral Commission, yes, the president has the constitutional right to appoint all 7 commissioners, but as good practice, as encouraged by ECOWAS, the former government necessarily allowed the opposition to nominate 3 of the 7 commissioners.
Right.
In fact, the current commissioner today was nominated by the CDC back then, who is now chairman, current chairman today, because you want to give a sense of a balance, right? Of fairness, of fair play. This is not to say the 7 current commissioners are not going to be fair. They may be, I don't know. But perception matters, and the perception is they're all seditions, they're all appointed by the president. So, what the Good Governance Commissioner said is just another reflection of what's happening with our country. And this is why I'm worried about elections integrity. I'm worried by the fact that everything has been politicized. If you're not a sedition today, my famous bowl of rice I talk about, you can't put your hand in that bowl of rice. It shouldn't be that way, right? We should have a country where professionals are professionals. You have the right to support who you want to support. Steve, I've said on this program, I'm an investor in 2 businesses in Liberia, one doing very well, one struggling. I don't make that public because if I make that public, this government will go after these people. They'll go after their businesses. And I'm not a majority shareholder. In one of the businesses I own, I think 25, 30%. The other one I own around 40%. Right? I can't put those businesses at risk. But this is just an example of where Liberia is. So, disappointing that this statement was made. because that shouldn't be what happens in our country, but not surprising.
Okay, not surprising. All right, thank you, Mr. Cummings. Quickly, let's move on to what I always term as the bread and butter issues here. Mr. Cummings, you are. This is no doubt not a hidden. As a matter of fact, it's an open secret that come October 10th, after the election, when the results are announced, um, Mr. Cummings wins the elections. Mr. Cummings is going to be inheriting, let's I term it as a mess in terms of the economy. You've always told the Liberian people say that your era there, when it comes to the economy or money business. Let me put it that way. My question to you is: do we expect any kind of excuse from Mr. Cummings, knowing that he knows what he's getting into and what he's signing up from for? I mean, do we expect any kind of excuse? If we're not expecting any kind of excuse from Mr. Cummings' administration, then the question is, how does Mr. Cummings address this complex problems that his administration would be faced with?
So we're not going to be making excuses per se, Steve, because we expect the treasury to be empty and for there to be a mess. The only thing we'll be doing is asking for a little bit of time to fix the mess and solve the issues we'll be getting into. Nobody knows exactly how bad it will be. We can speculate, we can guess, we can anticipate what it will actually be like, but until you actually get there, we're not going to know. So we're not going to make excuses per se, but we'll ask for a little bit of time to sort things out, to truly assess what we've inherited, how bad it is, and then how to fix it. What we know we'll have to do on day one is to start finding money, to start finding funding, to just make sure the government is running, that we can pay people, that the functions of government continue. So we know that on day one, we're going to have to start looking for sources, of funding. We also know that we're going to initiate an audit of what we're inheriting, so we know who did what. And it's not meant to go after an individual per se. It's meant to understand what we're getting so Liberians know and can see that. And then the evidence will go wherever the evidence goes. So we're not be looking at individual, but the evidence leads to you, it will go there. But funding will be our primary focus in terms of how do we find money to keep the government afloat, to pay people, to keep the functions of government going. And that's where we'll be focused in the first, few days and weeks of my administration.
Thank you, Mr. Cummings. In terms of some of the things that you'll be inheriting, since the question was a little too vague, I want to talk about food insecurity really quick, just to, because we Liberian people, our rest business, you can play with it. Yeah, you can play with rest business when it comes to us. And I say this to say that as we speak now, credit to Front Page Africa, there was an article released from them, and this is from the Food and Agriculture Organization, the FOA, the FAO, I mean, and something that captured my attention when I was reading it. Look at what it says, Mr. Cummings. Quote, in its latest report released for the month of July 2023 under the Global Information and Early Warning System on Food and Agriculture, named Liberia as one of the 33 African countries amongst the 45 in the world that needs external assistance for food. Mr. Cummings, you are running for presidency of Liberia, and the alarm is already being signed that we are on the list as a nation for assistance for food. The crisis in Ukraine has not subsided, it has not ended. What are your plans to ensure that this is addressed?
So again, we have to be honest with ourselves, Steve. There is no magic wand to solving these issues immediately. And therefore, we will be asking for assistance in the short term. I can explain to you, and I'll do it now briefly, what we will do in the medium to long term so we don't find ourselves in that situation again. But I will be lying to you, lying to Liberian people to say that on day one, there will be some magic wand, Alexander coming to wave, and that problem will go away. That is not the reality. And no politician, including the president, if he says that, he'll be lying to Liberian people. We will unfortunately, in the short term, be dependent on external assistance to make sure our people are fed. We got rice in the country and other food stuff to keep us going. But in the medium to long term, this is why we emphasize that we will invest in agriculture, in farming. We will ensure that over time we transform the Liberian economy from one that is dependent on the extractive industries, iron ore, gold, diamond, forestry, to an agro-based economy where we depend on the land. I remind Liberians that one day the gold will finish, one day the diamond will finish, one day the iron ore will finish, but the land will never finish if we farm it correctly, appropriately, do the necessary crop rotations, etc. So we'll invest in farming, we'll put the resources, we'll provide training to farmers, we'll go from subsistence farming to commercial mechanized farming. It will take time. So we'll address the food insecurity issue over the medium to long term. In the short term, we will be dependent on external help, dependent on importing rice as opposed to growing it ourselves. That is just the reality. But even in that importation of rice and everything else we import, we'll make sure that Liberians are participating in that importation. I remind people listening to me that we are an import dependent country, meaning we almost everything we use, consume, we import. We want to change that over time to be an export-led economy. That would take time. So in the meantime, Liberians can do the importing. Steve, importation is not algebra. Don't even talk about calculus. It's arithmetic. You import for $5, $3, you sell for four, you five, you sell for seven, whatever it is. Liberians can do that, right? So we'll make sure that Liberians are the primary importers of these goods and services. That means we got to enable them through providing credit and financing for them to do it. We got to connect them to the companies to import from, right? But we'll be import dependent for a while until we can, fix the economy, become less dependent on others to feed ourselves. But in the short term, it is what it is, and then we'll rapidly try to make the shift over time.
Yes, just before I turn it over to Siku, I didn't want to skip this question. I wanted to infuse it into the questions I've asked. Many presidents that have come before President George Weah have talked about decentralization, government giving power to the people, whether that is local chiefs, our fathers and our mothers, in the rural area. But that has not really happened. For example, President George Weah, in his inaugural speech, power to the people. People will not be spectators in their own economy. The Liberian people. So my question to you now, Mr. Cummings, what are your plans on decentralizing government so that the Liberian people, mine, papi, and my oma there, whether in Lufa, in Nimba, can say, okay, a town chief, the town chief, they can make a decision, they can be able to do what they want here, and they report to the government. What are your plans?
You're correct, Steve, that the president was quoted as saying in his inaugural address that Liberians will not be spectators to the economy. And unfortunately, the reality is Liberians are not even in the stadium anymore. They're outside the stadium looking at the big stadium because they're even far from being spectators. But I will be the president, and this show is being recorded, so I'm going on record. I will be the president that will make this statement true that Monrovia is not Liberia. I want to be the president. That's one of the legacies I want to leave. When people say, oh, Monrovia is not Liberia, they are correct. I want to be the president that makes that statement true that Monrovia is not Liberia, that Liberia is the entire country, all 15 counties, all 73 electoral districts. And part of that legacy is around decentralization, not only decentralizing the government, but decentralizing economic opportunities, decentralizing, repeating myself, economic opportunities. That means encouraging businesses, the private sector, to not just locate in Monrovia, Greater Monrovia, Monserrate, but in the rest of the country. For that to happen, we're going to have to make sure the infrastructure in the rest of the country exists, meaning running water, good roads, electricity, technology. We will make sure that all of the essential services that government offers in Monrovia, those services are offered in the counties, at least as a start. So if you want to get your deed probated, you want to get your driver's license, you want to get your marriage license, you want to get your passport, whatever, those things, those services should be available in the counties. The judicial system, people need to have access. Shouldn't have to come all the way to Monrovia or to only one point in the county capital. Those are things we'll be deliberate about. And this is something that the Governance Commission you mentioned earlier, that's something they should be thinking about. What is that transition? How do we make that happen? Ultimately, we want political decentralization. That will not happen day one. That will not happen right away. We got to be deliberate about how we politically decentralize, meaning, people locally vote for their mayors or their superintendents or whatever. That may be our destination, but we plan to, but at least the services have to be pushed outside Monrovia. And even more important than that for me, the economic opportunities have to be decentralized, right? And the private sector, kind of my area, the economy, my area, and how we get businesses, how we get opportunities into the counties is something that we'll focus on, because the politics will follow as well. If the economic opportunities are there, the people will be more demanding of that.
Thank you so much. Sekou is up to you, please.
Thank you so much, Steve. Folks, if you just joining us, this is SKTV coming to you live from Phoenix, Arizona. We are also live on Instagram. We are on YouTube. We are on SKTV Live. We are on SKTV. We are on Truth FM 96.1. We are also on Truth FM in Nimba. That means we are not only covering the entire Liberia, but we are also in some part of Guinea and the Ivory Coast and Sierra Leone. So, Mr. Cummings, with that many people listening to you, and I can guarantee you, even other political leaders are also here watching and listening to you. And many people believe what sets you apart from most of those other people is your experience in the private sector. Your first 100 days, you made mention of people being undecided. What can you tell the youth, the market women listening to you right now, in your first 100 days? What are some of the things in your plan that will effectuate some changes within their life, in their businesses, in the first 100 days? Something that will actually motivate them to say, you know what, I think they may get an answer for Liberia. What are some of the things that you intend to do for the young people, for women, Liberia as a whole, so they can see some changes in their life? What are some of the things, if you can?
Yes. So in what I'm going to list quite a few things that we'll do in the first 100 days. And this is not in any particular order, because we plan to do all of these things in the first 100 days. And I want to show Liberians that we're doing some work right now in terms of how we will implement these things, how we'll do it. So in no particular order, we will make a credit facility available, we'll make funding available to provide credit to our market women and to Liberian businesses of all sizes. One of the primary things that limits the growth of Liberian businesses, of any business around the world, by the way, but talking about Liberia, is the lack of access to credit, to borrow so that you can expand and grow your business. So you can buy more pepper, you can buy more bitter ball, you can buy more plantain, and sell more. So first 100 days, we'll make sure there's a credit facility available, not only for big Liberian businesses, but even for the micro businesses. We'll use, let me just talk about some of the hows. We'll use existing savings and loans association. They exist all around the country. They work today. They make small loans. We'll use those existing ones and just give them more capital for them to use to lend to people. So that's one area. Another area is we will enforce the Liberianization policy. It's on the books. There are certain businesses that only Liberians should be involved in. That's not happening today. We'll make sure that happens within the first 100 days. As I move around the country, Sekou, Steve, and Mayborn, in 2017, if I went to, let's say, 10 locations, at 3 of those locations, people were asked about the issue of our disadvantaged youth and drugs. Today, if I go to those same 10 locations, all 10 were asked about this issue. That means this issue has gotten worse and is everywhere in the country. So in the first 100 days, we'll address this issue of our disadvantaged youth and the drug issue, stopping the drugs from coming in the country, punishing and identifying those big hands that are benefiting from the drugs coming in the country, making sure we're establishing rehabilitation centers to rehabilitate these young people, get them off drugs, detoxify them, give them skills in the meantime. So that's something we want to do in the first 100 days. We want to address the sanitation, the trash issue in Liberia. Gentlemen, I mean, Mayborn is here with me, but the two of you come home, you see the trash everywhere. We want to address that in the first one. Liberia is 176 years old. We should not be living this kind of situation, right? The traffic situation, it's not simple, but we want to address it. Everybody got to follow the traffic rules, no more tail lanes. So these are just examples of the many things. We're working on a national youth service program, right, to help our young people. So you mentioned youth and women. Women, initially anyway, will focus on the credit for market women, for Liberian businesses. We address the drug issues on the youth side. Liberianization policy, we have the young people as well. A national youth service program, but there are other areas like the sanitation, like the traffic. These are just some examples of things, low-hanging fruit that we want to address in the first 100 days while we work on the most systemic issues, fixing education, fixing healthcare, developing the infrastructure. Those things will take time, but we'll do some of these things to really, so people can feel a difference. To Steve's earlier question, I mentioned we got to find the money to make sure people are getting paid regularly, right? Over time, not in the first 100 days, we'll look to restore some of the pay cuts, the harmonization that happened. Again, it will not happen in the first 100 days, but as we find the money, we want to restore those pay cuts that were made, and that people will get paid consistently. We want to make sure drugs are in the clinics around Liberia. Some of these things will be done by the private sector, by the way. We'll find Liberians who can do logistics, right? And so can, with some frequency, can deliver the drugs around the country, right? For example, or school supplies, right? These are things that the government doesn't have to do itself, but we can find private sector entities, work with them so they can do these things so that drugs can be, malaria drugs, stuff to help with diarrhea, hypertension can be available around the country. Those are the kinds of things we're trying to address very early on in our presidency.
Okay, speaking about voters, we heard there are a lot of silent voters out there. Some are civil servants that work in the current government. In Mr. Cummings, in Ellis Cummings' government as president, are you going to employ or focus on employing CPP, partisan, ANC or Liberty Party people, only somebody who is a sedition, also a UP partisan, or other parties within the country? Do you have room for everybody in Ellis government in terms of qualification as opposed to people being employed, appointed because of loyalty to Ellis Cummings?
Yeah, so Sekou, Stephen Mayborn, over time, not day one, not the first 100 years, not 100 days, not even the first year or two, but over time, we actually need to shrink the government. There's something they call smart small governments. Governments are meant to enable, to regulate. Government is not meant to be the job creator. The whole mental model, the way we think, particularly this government, about the government being a job creator is the completely wrong way to develop a country. The completely wrong construct. The private sector, the country the two of you live in, the private sector is what drives the economy, is where the jobs are created. So that you can sit in your home now, you can criticize the American government if you choose to, and it will have no impact on your ability to support your family because you're private sector employees, you don't work for the government, right? That's ultimately what we want to have happen in Liberia. And so over time, we actually want to shrink the government, but it's not going to happen in the first 2, 3, 4 years because until we create private sector opportunities so that when people leave the government, they got something to go to, they got a job to go to, or we create entrepreneurship opportunities, they can go start their own business. To try to shrink the government too fast, too quickly, will create hardship. You will create starvation. You will create political problems for ourselves. We're not going to do that. But over time, when we grow this thing called the private sector, people can migrate to the private sector. So ANC partisans, CDC, UP partisans, we want qualified people in the government. So I don't care your tribe. So I don't care whether you Dio, Gola, Vai, Madingo, Congo, Gribble, Bassa. I don't care. I don't care whether you're male or woman. I don't care whether you're Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, non-religion. Doesn't matter. You got to be qualified for the position. And if you qualify, you will get a position. As we fix and grow this thing called the private sector, we'll create jobs for everybody, right? There will be room for ANC people, CDC people. Many of our young ANC people, we want to send them back to school. Let them go get educated so they can be qualified to do the jobs. As we grow the private sector, we'll find jobs for them in there. Some will get jobs in the government too, right? But this concept of this, we are government, everything government. Generating electricity in America is done by the private sector. The government just regulates it, for example, right? I mean, all of this stuff. I want Liberia to become the Dubai of West Africa. I want us to be the gateway to ECOWAS. Look, we're 5.2 million people, gentlemen. We fix the economy. We make it easy for people to do business. Let the foreign people come and set up shop in Liberia. Let's not harass them. Let's not try to get bribes from them. I don't know if you guys saw the U.S. State Department report on Liberia and how damning it was. We need to fix that so that we only have 5.2 million people, but ECOWAS is over 300 million people. That's a big market, right? So if we create the environment in Liberia, we fix the infrastructure where Liberian businesses and or foreigners can base themselves here, and then they can export to Guinea, to Ivory Coast, starting with the Monetary Union, then to the rest of ECOWAS, Ghana, Nigeria. That's what the aspiration we have for Liberia. And the private sector, how you create that environment, how you attract people, how you make them feel safe and wanted, that's something we know how to do. That means we got to fix the judiciary. The judiciary got to work, the court system. That means we got to respect rule of law. That means people can't be, before they assign something they should sign, they want somebody to pay them, to bribe them, to do what they're supposed to be doing. You address all of those things, you make it easy, you look at the tax regulatory environment, will attract businesses, Liberian businesses and foreign businesses, so that we can create jobs for everybody and not this consumer government. Long answer to your question. But
It was a good.
For some reason, sorry, Sekou, for some reason, and this goes back to the history of Liberia, there has been this fear of I think it's subconscious or conscious fear of the private sector as another power center. So, if Sekou become a powerful businessman, then he will challenge me for the presidency or Mayborn or see. That's nonsense, right? We grow the private sector. If you're doing a good job, President, Steve challenge you, you will still beat him. I will still beat you if I'm doing a good job. If I'm making money for Steve, he would probably want me to stay there, right?
Yeah.
We gotta test think differently about this stuff. And for me, it's the private sector, the private sector, the private sector, businesses, entrepreneurship, young Liberians. How can we help them? Create jobs, start small businesses, and some of them are doing that today. By the way, we just gotta get more and help the ones that are doing this scale. You can tell I'm passionate about this private sector area, so I can talk about it all night.
Yeah, so I want to dig deeper in the private sector thing, especially when it comes to investors. You know, many Liberians believe that Mr. Cummings is connected, is well established. He worked in corporate America for a long time, and he did very well. So, what are you going to do to attract foreign investors to the country? Because people say you're connected. I mean, people think that when Cummings is president, I mean, they expect people to come. We heard similar thing about George Weah. Oh, George Weah got friends, and George Weah got plenty of friends, got plenty of people. When George Weah become president, there'll be investors in the country, but we're not seeing any. So what are you going to do? What are some of the expectations that Cummings, under Cummings presidency, the investor will come to Liberia and they will invest and Liberia will benefit. Liberia will be employed. They will benefit. What are some of the plan?
Yeah, so it is a fact, and I say this unapologetically and proudly that I have a lot of connection and relationships in the private sector outside of Liberia, in Nigeria, in Ghana, in the US, in the UK, in South Africa, and Kenya. But that is not sufficient. Let me explain.
Okay.
These people that I know, these connections, these individuals, these businesses, these institutions, they will not come to Liberia only because I know them, because they're my friends, because they know me. That is a plus. That is helpful, but it's not enough. It's not sufficient. That has to exist, but even more importantly, the environment for them to make money, for them to be successful, has to exist. So this is why even today people ask me, so if you got all these connections, why you can't bring businesses? Because the environment, my people, the environment that has been created by President Weah and his government is not conducive. It's not Alexander Cummings saying so because I'm in opposition. It's the United States State Department. They do these reports on countries around the world. And they are saying that the environment that has been created by President Weah and his government actually discourages foreign investors from coming to our country. The corruption, the bribing, kind of almost holding people to ransom, right? That's that environment. So, yes, I have these connections, but what would be different is I will fix the environment. I will make sure the judiciary system is independent and it works. I will make sure rule of law, people following the rules, rule of law prevail. I will make sure that whether you're Liberian or you're foreigner, you feel safe in your community, in your village, in your neighborhood. You gotta make sure that the drugs are not coming to the country, that we don't have this drug problem. So we gotta fix them. We gotta make sure the regulations are easy to follow, are simple. They think ease of doing business. So the ease to register your business, to start your business, you know, to hire people, to fire people if they're not performing. All of those things gotta be in place. They gotta be easy for you to do. And so I will create the environment. When I create the environment, then they say, oh, but the environment is there. Plus, we know Alex, he's got integrity. He understands that we need to make money too. The country got to make money. We got to pay our taxes. He understands that. Is that combination that will attract investors. So it's not just because they know me, they do, I know them, but the environment gotta be conducive. And we will fix the environment. That's something we are actually doing some work on now on what needs to happen. We're gonna be organizing um, a, a forum where we get some entrepreneurs, some business people to come and just tell us what are some of the barriers, what do we need to change, what do we need to fix, so we know that from day one, those things that we need to adjust and fix to make it easier for businesses to happen. So, Sekou, that will be the difference. And for me, my success as president will be completely reliant on private sector growth because we know the model of depending just on government has not worked. If depending on government, if government experience was a solution to Liberian problems, we will be the best country in the world today. But we are not. So let's do something different. Let's fix the government. Let's make it effective, efficient, and let's develop this thing called the private sector. Let businesses thrive. Let businesses do the private sector business do the trash. Let them generate the electricity, for example. Um, all of this stuff, even the combination of the private sector and encouraging philanthropy, right? So the problems with rehabilitation, our young people, our drug intoxicated people, right? We need to work with churches and other NGOs. Let's support, let's enable them, but let them play a part in our rehabilitation. Some of them do that today already. So let's identify that, let's encourage that. It doesn't have to be the government. Government just creates the environment, enable some of the government gotta prime the pump. So give some small money for them to start, right? And then when they do that, so this government, we can use the NGO sector, philanthropy, the private sector. That's the combination that would be different. That's how we move the country forward.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cummings. We are going to be going to Steve, but before we do, I just want to inform the public that we just lost our connection with the radio. I believe they will come back shortly because
I hope so.
Because what we were thinking, what the plan was that after when I asked this last question, we'll go to Steve as a set of question, then we'll go to Liberia to take calls from Liberia because we want to make sure. Okay, I think the radio is getting connected. So Melbourne, I know you got disconnected. Let me see if Melbourne is here. Melbourne, are we good?
Yes, I don't know. I don't know what happened, but anyway, I think that's the internet, and I hope and pray that the face up going to face the internet.
The internet, right? Okay. So yeah, we hope we are to have a high-speed internet in Liberia one of these days. So yes, Mr. Comey, before I go to Steve, this whole idea of who's going to win the election, who's not going to win the election. Some people are saying, oh, some people are kind of discouraged. There are people that move by momentum. There are people that move with hope. Some people say, you know what, I don't want to waste my vote. This person can win. But lately, you have been making some good moves. We have seen it. We have seen some shift, in how politics is been going. However, can you tell us what do you think is your pathway to the presidency? Where you think you have an edge? Where you think you can win this election? How are you going to win this election, Mr. Cummings?
So,
we'll go to Liberia.
Yeah, no, first of all, you're correct that there are many people, not all, but there are many people who are swayed by momentum, who want to kind of be with the winning side, right? I mean, that's not just in Liberia, by the way. That's everywhere in the world. And the good news is, as you suggest, we're gaining momentum. We also know we got a lot of silent voters that people are underestimating. But building momentum is something we are doing, and we know we need to accelerate. And that's a combination of things to sort of build momentum. One is I'm and Councillor Bronskin and others, we're gonna start to saturate the media. as I mentioned earlier. Uh, and we'll also be traveling length and breadth of our country to make the case. And again, I believe that will begin to show this income momentum. It will be about visibility, being everywhere. Um, it will be about uh, endorsements, and people will be seeing endorsements over the next, several weeks here. People supporting us, putting our hands up, because many times people want to see others who are supporting you, and then they will follow. So that we aware of, and that will start to happen. I mentioned the conversation, very brief conversation I had when I got back just now with two young people, and tomorrow night I'm having a bigger get together with some young folks so we can reach people that we haven't reached, before. So it's a combination of all of those things. But the good news is we already have momentum. We just got to build on it. Uh, and that's what we'll be doing. You know, most Liberians, or many, let me say, believe that we are the right team to turn this country around, right? Many Liberians are still undecided. So that for us is the opportunity. Most people think you're the best guy. Many people still undecided. Let's get those people. That intersection of those two things is what would take us to victory on October 10th.
Yes, I talk about the pathway. I maybe you didn't get that question. Where are the area that you think you are strong?
So I want to remind people that in 2017, and then I would talk about geography if that's
Mhm.
your question. I will talk about geography and demographics both. So in 2017, it might surprise people that having only been in Liberian politics literally about 18 months before the election, year and a half, maybe even less. We came in third in Maserado. Joe Weah came in first, Joe Bogasella, Ezana Komi came to ahead of Bromsky, many other people who have been in politics a much longer time. And we came in third in, I think, 6 other counties across the country. So we didn't do too badly. So Maserado, we will do well in Maserado. We are very confident of that. We'll do well in what we call the Basso Belt. We got a Basso woman on our ticket. She is there now. She launched our campaign and she's there now. So that whole Basso and Basso River says part of Mangibi, part of Nimabong will do well there. The Western cluster, again, I think will surprise people in Kipman and Bomi. I think we'll do well in the Western cluster. Small population, but not unimportant. We will do well in the Southeast. That's where my family is from. People at Somo, so we are from there, we will compete very heavily in that part of the country. Nimba is a little bit complicated, right? Big population, but it's a complicated county, the way I like to describe it, right? You got two sons on the national ballot, uh, Jeremiah Kuhn and Tiawan Gonglo say Mexico, but we're going to compete. We're not going to give up any county to anybody. So, we can't compete there. Uh, Even if that means they gotta make sure they're looking back in their own backyard. We gotta make it hard for them everywhere. So, but Maserado, Basso Bell, Western Cluster, are areas we think we can do well. Bong, the Pella Belt, we think we can do well there as well. And so, and then that's geographically. From a demographic perspective, youth and women is where we're going to focus as well, and we think we can do well. Women, we did well in 2017. We think we'll do even better, and then we need to get more youth to support us, and I think we will.
So thank you so much, Mr. Cummings. Before we go to Steve, let me say this. We will go to Steve. We have 12:27 here. So we want to, at least by 12:30, we want to go to Liberia. At least in 3 minutes, we want to go to Liberia. We want to make sure at least the audience will have time today to ask a few questions. So we'll go to Liberia. Maybe we'll take 30 seconds per person. People are going to be calling after Steve. And then we'll come to the diaspora. We'll also open the line so that people have time to ask questions to Mr. Cummings. So he too will have some time at least to answer to those questions. So Steve?
Thank you, Mr. Kane. Quickly, I don't want to push any further questions because we're going to have to go to the line. But I wanted to use this opportunity to ask for some clarification and context. You talked about Liberianization policy, Mr. Cummings. In all honesty, I'm sitting here juggling through my phone, and Facebook or whatever, not Messenger, and I'm getting text messages from you wouldn't believe it, all the way in Lofa County. People are saying what that word mean. Another question they're also asking is apart from the liberalization policy, they're also asking what does private sector opportunities, what does that mean? Can you please elaborate on those things, those two areas, so that we can go to the lines, please?
Yeah, it's a very good point. So, what private sector means is businesses. So, today the government of Liberia, they think of government. Everybody looks to the government for employment, to get a salary, to make a living. We want businesses, small businesses, big businesses. So the market women are part of the thing called the private sector. So we want those market women, people that are selling bitter ball today, pepper. We want them to be able to sell more. We want to get them credit. We want them to migrate from just having a waiter that is selling from to maybe get a shop. So they get a shop, they can employ some people to help them sell in that shop. Then maybe get a bigger store. We want, rather than the government, for example, running LEC, the electricity company, we want private sectors to do it. They will do it better, more efficiently, for example. So it's about businesses. It's about not the government, but individuals getting together or by themselves to provide some of these services. So cleaning up the trash, right? Individuals, companies can do that, and the government can contract them to be the ones to pick up the trash and employ people in that process. So it's not the government doing it, it's this individual businesses. So the private sector is business is bringing companies into like technology. Look, MTN today, the cell phone business, right? Or Orange, those are private sector. So it's not the government. These are companies that come to the country and provide these services to us. So I don't know, Steve, maybe you can maybe help me break it down more, but is that's what I'm talking about. It's not the government, but it's individual or businesses that are providing these services, that are creating the jobs as they provide these services. That's what we call the private, the private sector is you know. And then on Liberianization, meaning we want Liberians to be the ones to be in charge of the country, be in charge of the businesses, right? So, selling ice, for example, Liberian can sell ice. You don't need Chinese, Lebanese, Indians, Americans. So we want Liberians to do that. There's a whole list of things, businesses that Liberians should be doing, selling ice cream, small stuff. That's what we should be doing. But beyond that, I mentioned importing. Somebody that import the rice that would eat. Somebody that import the cars. Somebody that import the furniture. Somebody that import all these things. So Liberians can be that. It doesn't have to be a Lebanese, an Indian, American, Chinese. Liberian people can be the people that are importing and selling to other Liberians, right? That's part of Liberianization policy. So hopefully that helps explain both of those concepts. That is not the government, but is businesses owned by Liberians, sometimes owned by foreigners, that will come and help us grow our business, grow our economy,
Thank
great
you.
jobs.
Thank you. Mr. Kane, we are headed to Liberia, right, for calls.
Yes.
Milburn, it's up to you, please.
Milburn, you can open the line in Liberia, but before you open the line, if you have a question, just ask your one question to Mr. Cummings, and then you can open the line to the other Liberians.
Indeed. So, yeah, thank you so much, Steve, and thank you so much, Sekou. And to fix someone, let me say thank you so much for coming. We have the past, we have the present, and the future. So that means three of you are already into the race. So Liberia going to choose as to which way to go, and I know that in fact we have to move forward. So quickly, my question had to do with our children. I don't know what your plan like for the children, because we see our children are roaming around the streets, selling water, selling bread, selling biscuits, and so on. So what's the plan?
It's about education. It's about schools, Mayborn. Great question. And we will take those children off the street and make sure they're in schools. And for us to do that, we got to make sure that parents got jobs to feed themselves and their families. In a lot of cases, those children are on the street hustling for themselves to feed themselves. But many times, they're hustling to feed themselves and their family to take money home. So it will create a bit of hardship initially, but those children need to be in school, not on the street selling. And at the same time, we got to create jobs for the parents so that they can support themselves, the children, the family, pay the tuition. But our plan is to take the kids off the street. That we cannot be 176 years old in Liberia and have our young people running around selling in the sun, in the rain. I mean, it's hard, it's heart-wrenching, heartbreaking. And we got to take them off the street, make sure the schools are there to take them, but also make sure the parents have the means of supporting their families so that the need for them to be on the street goes away. And that is our plan, is to make sure that happens.
All right, thank you so much. So let me get to the line and start picking calls. And to Masewa Joe. Masewa, let me say good evening to you.
She's low, very low, my Mabel.
You got to be a little bit, yeah, we're not getting you too much, but go ahead.
Yes, I say thank you so much for joining my call this evening so I can talk to my incoming. I'm officially a fair woman, but the able woman. I want to ask the incoming when he do, what plan he got for able people.
All right. Thank you so much, Masewa Joe. Always following SKTV, and today she opportunity to talk to our political leader. Today's caller, good evening. Yeah, my brother, we good. Thank you. Go ahead. No time.
Thank you very much. Yes, I want to ask you because.
What's your name? Your name? Samuel calling out from where? Yeah, go ahead. Okay. All right, youth empowerment. What's his plan for the youth? Okay, so today's caller, good evening. Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Cummings, are you hearing the questions?
No, but maybe will tell me.
Yeah, because we are struggling to hear the person. It's kind of like a clear, loud.
Yes,
or,
maybe that person is.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Matthew.
Yeah, Mr. Cummings, welcome to American. We're liking to be the president of the Foreign Liberia, but he has not addressed the issue about the civil service salary and the private sector. What may be the salary of the civil servant, including the security sector?
All right, the benchmark, right? To this caller, good evening.
Good evening, neighbor. I'm Daniel calling from Margibi.
Yeah, go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, thank you very much for comments and thanks to stakeholders the police in the U.S. I want to ask the comments. The health sector, I didn't really discuss much about the health sector, so I want to know what would be your alternative for the health sector, because most of the time we see what people are giving out these projects go elsewhere. So I want to know what will you do.
All right, you want to know about the health sector is playing towards the health sector. Yeah, to this caller, good evening.
Yeah, how are you, sir? I'm Stephen from Onyema Local County.
Okay, from Lofa County, go ahead.
I just want to say something. Actually, I don't have a question. What I just want to tell the Liberians, we're just accepting, intellectual center to the one we're talking about Mr. Cummings. That is a very competent person. Like the citizens will say, oh, he should wait for 2029. And when you ask the Unity Party president, he now wants to say, oh, he's confident, but I'm not standing. Like, let us be honest to ourselves. Let's look for somebody. The person is already here. Listen to Mr. Cummings on this particular media. The kind of ideas that he's presenting to the Liberians. We're looking for somebody. I always tell people, if you're looking for experience, we say experienced president is not coming from the old politician. We should be bringing on fresh ideas on board because those experiences have never worked for us from the independent day of Liberia and coming up to this time. They have never worked for us. No past experiences. And we cannot be looking for past experiences that fail us. So let us look for fresh ideas that will be able to do good for Liberia. Let us take the issue of trust from our politics. Let's take the issue of, regional connection from our politics. Let us look at the individual capability, the ability of the individual to labor to the Liberian people, so that we can't say that again, be discouraged about ourselves and feel hurt.
Thank you so much from Father from Lofa County to this. Hello, sorry, we're not allowed that. 0770-2031-25 or 0770-203125, and that's the number to call all on 0778.
Maybe we'll take two more.
Okay.
Answer the question. Yeah, just two more. Answer the question, then we'll go to the diaspora. A lot of people calling too. We want to make sure that get a piece of the pie.
Indeed, you're correct. So to this caller from line 2. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, my brother.
Yeah, go ahead. Your name and from where you join us.
My name is Brian Tona. I'm joining you from the 12th Street.
Go ahead, Chief.
Yeah, let me say this to Mr. Cummings. Whatever Mr. Cummings said about his message. The last time I was in Tupo Road and I went beyond the Quest Embassy, I saw something there. But the narrative built by Mr. Cummings, why he is not yet president. But those guys that are carrying the message of Mr. Cummings are not really discussing these things. What Mr. Cummings has done for the Labrador, why he is not president yet. But all they can say when they go on the process argument and that and the SKTV, Joseph Boka sick. Joseph Boka is not capable. Joseph Boka is that. Joseph Boka is that. Joseph Boka is not our main target. The main target of the CPP is the CDC, their government, and what Mr. Cummings will do when he's become president.
All right, and what you been doing? So you want the people to go out there and carry the message. So this caller, you'll be our last caller. Don't go back to Sekou and Steve. Go ahead. Yeah, my dear. Go ahead. Your name.
Mr. Cummings spoke about a lot of development.
Your name and from where you join us.
I'm Brother John Thomas calling from DC.
Yeah, go ahead.
Talk about development that he intends to do. My question to him, with all the development that he has outlined, is he going to carry development in the 6 years that he asking us that for?
All right, thank you. Thank you.
All
so that's the question I'm waiting asking. So Sekou and Steve, back to you people. Yeah.
Yeah, Mebon, thank you so much. What we're going to do here, when we open the line in Liberia, Sidiki said he's been trying to get through. He's not getting through. So Sidiki called from Liberia all the way. Liberia.
It's not easy.
Yeah, so Sidiki been waiting forever. Let's take Sidiki. Even if he's Liberia, we'll open the diaspora line now. So Sidiki Kroma, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
Yeah, quickly, 30 seconds.
Good evening to all of you. Thank you, Mr. Cummings. Steve, thank you for the question asked about the private sector. And let me speak about our brand people. When Mr. Cummings talk about the private sector, what he means is this. None of our people, none of your children you send to school, when they graduate, all of them, they can be in high school, they be dependent on government job. That's the mindset. Everybody want to work in government. Mr. Cummings is saying that he will invest in the private sector to make we Liberia independent, so that we don't necessarily have to follow their politicians, to be some thinking battle cry Amanda away to be independent, self-sufficient. And if you look at the men record of people, this is the only man that have the capability, that have the record of fixing, investing in the private sector. And that is what he meant by investing in the private sector. Lastly, Mr. Cummings, I know you have invested a lot of time, your time, your energy, your resources into this election. But you ever said we are experiencing something, especially for some of us that are on the field. A lot of people calling us from Babylon, but they're not hearing about Mr. Cummings, they're not hearing about the CPP. And this is very disappointing because they were your
party chairman down on the chair is from. And I want you to speak about this, Mr. Cummings. You know, we are trying to handle this, to speak about it on our platform, but it seems that it's not working. You know, I want you to address it. Senator Nathan, it seems like he's running his own campaign instead of pushing the CPP agenda, which is unfortunate because he's a chairman of ANC. The CPP gets viewed in Nimba, the CPP should get viewed in Babu. So thank you very much, Mr. Cummings.
Okay, so we're gonna start taking other calls here too in the diaspora.
Yeah, I think I got two on here, but go ahead first.
Yeah, okay. Let me take these first callers, and then we'll go to Steve. So, yeah, caller, what is your name and where you calling from? 512 number, last 4 digits 0095. Hello? Hello? Okay. That person listening to the radio. So yeah, 302 number, last 4 digit 0065. What is your name and where you calling from?
My name is Amos, and I'm calling from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, quickly, 30 seconds.
Yeah, Ms. Cummings, what do you think about using geomapping the country, the entire country, using taxation to raise revenue, and then whereby using the banking system, the private banking system, to create jobs so that Liberia's entire housing infrastructure can be revamped? When people go take loans if they want to, to improve their houses, because like a lot of the houses in Monrovia, don't even have toilets, and that's the capital city. So we can use the banking system, we can use taxation to revamp the entire housing infrastructure in Liberia. What do you think about that? And in fact,
thank you. One question is enough, my brother. Thank you, Jomo. We got a lot of people calling. So caller on the other line here, 929 number, last 4 digit is 4224. What is your name and where are you calling from? Hello?
Yeah, my name is Napoleon Monaco Tutu. I'm calling from Los Angeles.
Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Cummings, in the 80s, Liberia had 4 people. When you were talking about Dubai of West Africa, my question to you, I've been in the private sector for 5 years now in the U.S. And by the way, I will be in Liberia October 1st. I want to be on your campaign team. I will help you. But my question to you, we have 4 seaports in Liberia. And now I have a business in the Ivory Coast that want to come to Liberia. If you win these elections, where are some of the mechanisms you want to put in place? Because we don't have a plywood factory in Liberia. We buy our plywood out of Liberia. We see our timber being loaded in containers when we say that the World Bank preventing us from cutting our logs, but they are stealing our logs through the Buchanan Seaport and, exporting our logs from Liberia. Why can't we manufacture plywood in Liberia and export it? So when you become president after October 10th, what are you going to do about that?
Thank you so much. Thank you. So let's go to Steve. Steve got 2 callers there. So quickly, just 30 seconds, everybody. 30 seconds.
Yes, caller, what's your name? Where you calling from, please?
This is D. Curtis.
Yes.
Thank you, Steve. Mr. Cummings, thanks for making yourself available as always to engage the Liberian people. I know that plenty of question with Chongi at you. I hope you can answer all our questions and we'll be waiting to see. My question I have here, you stated that you want Liberians to be actively involved in the private sector. You make mention of the Chinese, the Lebanese in charge. There's a saying in Liberia that you can take the donkey into the river, but you can't force it to drink. As a president, what strategy are you going to implement? What incentive are you going to give Liberian people to inspire them or motivate them for them to willingly engage into the private sector instead of the people that are actually in charge now? What are you going to do?
Thank you. Let me get the next caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from, please? Hello? Caller, hello?
Hello?
Yes, what's your name? Where you calling from, please?
This is Priscilla Mon calling from Minneapolis.
Yeah, Monk, what's your take?
Welcome, Mr. Cummings, on the show. I got a question and one comment from Mr. Cummings. First of all, I would like for Mr. Cummings to make an open appeal to the people in the diaspora to get engaged in this campaign, to make calls. They got economic muscle. They could make calls. They could call their friends and relatives back home, because I believe that in taking this election, they are bigger than in 2017. Because I believe for 12 years for Georgia, it's going to be almost insurmountable to kind of come and put the country in the right trajectory. And my second thing is, when Mr. Cummings talked about liberalization policy, the private sector, the ease of doing business, these are often the major challenges. And like he said, he could go and talk about them all day, because he is his background, is his strength. My thing here is, why you think you can do something different, something better as compared to 2017 that is going to increase your chances of winning this election? Because if you cannot secure the executive management, trust me, all these ideas, they will mean nothing, and we'll just be stuck with Georgia presidency. So I'm saying, people believe that you should be blowing the competition out of the water, because all the trajectory, all the confluences are in favor, but they are just not saying it yet. I'm not saying it's impossible to happen, but I want you to tell us what you think you can do differently than 2017 to increase the chances of securing the executive mansion this time around. That's my question to you specifically. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to take in two more calls. I have hundreds of calls coming in. We're not be able to tell everybody. And let me promise you guys, we will try by all means to reach out to Mr. Cummings as many times as we can to bring him before the election, so that all of you will have enough time to ask your questions. But we're not able to take all the questions today. And we want to also give him time to answer to the questions, please. So the last two people on hold, I'm going to take them, and then we will go to Mr. Cummings. So this person here, oh my God, can't even allow me. Yeah, they can't even allow me to even read the number. Caller, what is your name and where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yes.
Sego?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Sego, it's me, Rai Stoyan from India. One of Mr. Kumi's ardent follower and founder of the ANC Global here. I think I've been calling your show.
For India, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, sir. How you call it? I want to appeal to my fellow youth of Liberia that Mr. Cummings is the right man for the nation, and we should also know that quality doesn't come easy. People say opportunity come but once, but I don't think, that statement is actually, but Mr. Cummings is actually here, and he is the quality that we have been looking for. To my fellow youth that on the radio that are listening to me right now, listen, gentlemen, listen, my sister. Look, Mr. Cummings is genuine. Mr. Cummings is consistent. Mr. Cummings can provide that future that we all dreamed of when we were young and coming up and we wanted to be something. Failed politicians, or liars and leaders have diminished our future. Mr. Cummings is here to actually bring our future and to make us to be who we want to be and what we want to see Liberia is. So thank you, Seko.
Thank you so much. Let's go to the line here. I will take the last caller here. I think this is Sarah from all the way Liberia. Sarah's man. Sarah, are you there?
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity, and sorry for the poor quality of voice I've been on the feed on mobilization and the house-to-house messaging. Good evening to the listeners and viewers of SKTV, and good evening to you, Mr. Cummings. This is Sarah Smane.
Go ahead quickly.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity again, Mr. Kane. Mr. Cummings, my question has to do with, there are two things I want to say. The first one is question. My question has to do with, what is the plans of the disadvantaged youth when you become president of this country? Because why I ask this question, this is a question that is always posted to us. I'm one of the leader on the few, especially the house-to-house messaging for the Cummings and Brodsky administration. And secondly, this is an appeal. I've had several meetings with you, Mr. Cummings, and I don't have to say it, but this is how you know me. And Mr. Cummings, I will use this medium to appeal to you that you have to put the young people, empower the young people, put the campaign in the hands of the young people. And I can tell you, the young people can deliver this campaign. in a sense, like empowering them on the radio, like I told you, on the social media, intellectual forum. Mr. Cummings give the mantle of authority to the young people. There is nothing that I can discuss in this platform. There is nothing in Freddie Fair, neither in Santi, Missouri, and all of those in Obadiah Sonega cannot discuss of your platform. And it gives more attention to your platform, seeing another young people discussing the platform on different medium. So empower the young people more to discuss this platform. This is my appeal that I'm appealing to you, Mr. Cummings, because this election is not about you, it's not about Charlie, it's not about Yasini, it's not about Sekou, it's not about none of the Liberian diaspora. It's about us Liberians who are in Liberia, who go through the daily activity of this country, the pain, the suffering, the hardship, and all of these things that we go through on a daily. So this is the appeal that I want to give out. Thank you so much to Mr. Khan, and thank you to the SKTV family for affording me the opportunity.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Cyrus Man. And so, folks, those that are calling, after Mr. Cummings responses to all the questions, we will still take calls after when he leaves. So, Mr. Cummings, I don't know if you're going to have enough time to answer to all these questions, but we'll not be able to take all the calls today unless you promise our people that you're going to be coming here constantly so that they can ask all the questions before the election. It's very important.
Steve, you're twisting my arm. I will come back, no question about it, and I will come back. I will come back more than once to engage with you, Steve, Mayburn, and your listening audience. So lots of questions, all very good questions, by the way, and suggestions as well. So let me try to be quick. I'm normally very long-winded, but on the our disabled Liberians, let me assure the caller Liberian people that we will ensure that disabled Liberians are part and parcel of everything we do, that they will be accommodated. We will be intentional about making sure they are engaged, they are empowered, they are not discriminated against. So we'll make sure we look after our disabled people. I often say you don't choose your tribe, religion, gender, you don't choose your ability or disability. And so those things will not work against you, and we'll make sure you're a part of our country and society. On youth empowerment, I touched on that. It will be around education, vocational skills for our young people. It will be around supporting our young people, entrepreneurship, young people in businesses. It will be about our young people. I mentioned National Youth Service Program, which we're designing. We want to implement that. It will be about creating jobs. So jobs, education, National Youth Service, youth empowerment, and addressing the whole issue around drugs for our disadvantaged youth. I mentioned in my opening, we'll take people off the street, we'll build rehabilitation homes, we'll work with NGOs to help us do that, churches and other organizations. But that's all part of the youth empowerment effort. Training, creating jobs, getting them off the streets, giving them skills, encouraging them to be entrepreneurs and go into business, all part of youth empowerment effort. There was a question about civil service salaries. I mentioned earlier that we will work overtime to restore those salaries. Not something we'll do overnight, but that's the goal, is to restore it over time, and we'll consistently do it. And civil servants will get paid regularly every month. There will be a show getting paid, and we'll restore the salary that was harmonized by this government. On the health sector, we're going to focus on what we call primary health care. What kills most Liberians: malaria, typhoid, diabetes, childbirth, diarrhea, hypertension. We'll focus on clinics with drugs, midwives trained, childbirthing rooms, nurses to administer these drugs to address primary health care, what kills most of our people. I agree we're going to be focusing on positive messaging. That was a suggestion, advocating for me, not attacking anybody, but advocating for what we can do, what we will do for our country. So thanks for that suggestion. I hope the ANC partisans are listening, the CPP partisans are listening. Let's focus on positive messaging, what we can do. Let's advocate for us and not attack anybody else. So I agree with that. Question about all of these plans I talk about, will it happen in 6 years? No, all of it will not happen in 6 years. But what will happen in 6 years, though, Liberians will see progress. They will feel a difference. The suffering will be less. Liberians will see and they will feel that their lives are improving, that things are getting better, that there will be more jobs than there were before, that the country will be more decentralized than it is now, that the trash will be gone, that the traffic will move smoother. So they will see changes, they will see and feel improvements, they will feel and see that the suffering is getting less. But when I saw Liberia problem in 6 years, this is a 25, 30-year journey to really fix it so that we can't go backwards anymore, to put the systems and processes in place that, no matter who becomes president, the country will still be moving forward. That would take time, but in 6 years, people will feel different. Person mentioned they're not feeling our presence in Bapalo and Nimba. We got the feedback. We'll work on that to make sure our presence is felt everywhere, including in those two counties. Then from the diaspora, question about taxation to raise revenue in the banking system. Yes, those are all under consideration. I mentioned credit and providing credit facilities. That will be done through the banking system or through the banking system, not just the formal banks. These village savings and loans, that's a form of banking. But banking, credit are all vehicles for capitalism. That's how businesses grow and develop. Capital for housing, we used to have a national housing and savings bank. We need to reestablish that. We used to have an agricultural development bank. We need to reestablish that. So the banking system, yes, is a catalyst for growth and development, and we'll make sure we leverage that. And we'll review our taxation systems and policies and make sure we're expanding the tax base, make sure it's fair, make sure we're not taxing the same people over and over and over and over. So all of those things will be looked at, considered, and implemented. There's a question about the CPOs and then logging and timber. First of all, we need to make sure that we're not so much dependent on the Freeport of Monrovia. So we got to make sure the Port of Buchanan, the Port of Harper, Port of Greenville, we got to reestablish, redevelop those ports, right? So part of the infrastructure development. And then, yes, we need to add value to all of our natural resources, including our forests, our logs. Same with rubber. We should be producing rubber gloves, condoms, rubber buckets, rubber boots, for example, right? So adding value to our natural resources, including timber, having a plywood factory. We used to have that back in the day. We need to reestablish that. But the idea of value addition to our raw materials is something that, we'll focus on. Question about incentives for Liberians to engage in businesses. Let me say, a lot of Liberians are in businesses, or they're just struggling. They're just not supported. I don't think we need any extra incentive per se, except that not to make it hard for them to be successful when they go into business, to make it easy for them to borrow, to get money to finance their business, to, again, let them be the importers. These people exist. Liberians produce stuff today, planting chips, the package, good packaging, different kind of fruits and stuff. So it's not about our young people not wanting to do it. It's just the environment. We make it so hard, so difficult, so complicated. So if we fix the environment, there will be no lack of young people that will come and do this thing. I have no doubt. I met some young people the other day in the music and entertainment business. They are smart, they're talented, they know what to do. We just make it hard. We just need to prime the pump a little bit. Just, give them a little bit of help and support, then they will take it from there. So I'm not too worried about that, though. Our people exist. They can do this stuff. The suggestion that the diasporas are engaged. Thank you. I think somebody from Minnesota. We had a meeting last night with a bunch of diasporas. They did some fundraising for poll watching, and many of them are committed to calling. We have set up phone banks where people will call friends and relatives to vote and support us. So that is happening. We need to just expand it and scale it. But we encourage Liberians to do that. We encourage them to come home to help the poll. Even if you didn't register, come home. We need poll watchers, right? Come volunteer. Come home and mobilize your family, your friends, your relatives. And if you can't come home, get on the phone and do it from there. So, good suggestions. Many things are different in 2017. In 2017, nobody really knew me. To be honest, I I entered the political fray literally about 15 months or so before the elections, right? Today, nobody can say they don't know who Alexander Cummings is, right? So we are more popular. We are in the top three. I mentioned earlier, we are going to focus in this last 65 days on women and youth and engage them more. We're very clear geographically. Siku asked the earlier question, where is our geographic focus? We're very clear on that. So many things are different from where we were in 2017. That's why I'm confident we'll win. And then this question about disadvantaged youth, I think I addressed disadvantaged youth and youth empowerment and things we'll do for them. But let me end by again thanking you guys for a very
Before you close, I want you to incorporate this in your closing.
okay.
Given what you have done in terms of explaining the issues, explaining to the Liberian people how you can fix things, your control over the issue, are you willing to participate in the presidential debate?
Yes,
before the election.
Absolutely. So, Sekou, in 2017, I participated in 2 presidential debates, and those debates, I did so well that it actually, I call it my launching into Liberian politics. Even though it happened late, it happened in August. If those debates had been held 6 months before on the same stage and stuff, I would have probably done even better than I did in the election. So I'm one of the debates, and I welcome that. I hope, President, we had never debated. Let's hope he does it this time. In one of the debates that I did in 2017, the former vice president was on the stage, so I hope he agrees to debate at this time around. But the answer is yes. I'm happy to meet anybody anywhere and do a debate. But I do think we should demand that all major political parties participants are on the stage. The Amos Sawyer Foundation, I believe, have sent out invitations to the 4, in their definition, the 4 leading actors to a debate. And I hope we all agree to do it. The president, the former vice president, myself. And I think they invited Tiawan Gonglo as well. But I'd be happy to debate Siku. Even on your platform, if you can get all 4 of us to come, be happy to engage. The one thing I know I need to improve on is making some of my concepts simpler. Like, the question that Steve asked that came from Liberia, what private sector, right? To explain it in a way that people can understand what that means, or the liberalization policy. So I got some work to do to make some of these things a bit more simple. And I often say I know what I know, I know what I don't know, I know where I need help with. And I know how to fix many of these things, but sometimes to break it down for our people is a challenge. And so any help you guys or anybody has in helping me do that, it will be welcome. I'm not embarrassed to accept some help in that regard. But let me end by again thanking you. Always enjoy these discussions. We will come back. I want to say to Liberians that with 65 days to go, let's everybody get engaged and everybody get involved. There's no more time to sit on the fence. I want to say to Liberians, I'm determined to make my case. I'm determined that given the opportunity, we will change our country. We will not disappoint you. We will not let you down. Liberia can be changed. Where we find ourselves today is not our destiny. It doesn't have to be this way. You look at the region, our neighbors, they got problems too, by the way. They're not perfect by any stretch, but they're all doing better than we are. And it doesn't have to be that way. We're just as smart as these people, but it's about leadership. It's about who knows what needs to be done, who has the skills and experience. It's not just who cares, because all of us who are running, I believe, care for the country. So I don't question that George Weah doesn't care for Liberia or former vice president or whoever. But caring is not sufficient. Caring is not enough. So what do you do? How can you solve these issues? Do you have the skills, the understanding, the knowledge, the relationship? Have you done it in the past? That's even more, if not equally important as just caring. and we have both of those things. So I ask for your support. I think we need official campaign now, so I can say, please vote for me. I can use the word vote Steve in this platform and not be breaking any law. And I promise we will change our country. You will see a difference in your lives. So yeah, thank you very much. And I will come back. We will arrange the time at least 2 other times, if not more, before election day.
Thank you. Segun, you're muted.
So, Mr. Cummings, thank you so much. But people, your supporters are recommending, someone is recommending once a week, someone is recommending at least bi-weekly before the election. So the boys in your code,
Let's talk about that.
Let us know whenever you're ready. But thank you so much, Mr. Cummings. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. All right.
So, Maybon and the team on the ground, first of all, we want to say thank you, a big thank you to you guys by way of courtesy for letting go the news today, just to have Mr. Cummings, on this show today with no interruption, no problem. I think it was great. So I don't know, maybe you stay going to be around for a minute or not, but whatever the case is, we appreciate the extra time, the extra patience you guys have. Maybe let me tell you, just on YouTube, we have 170 people watching on YouTube.
Wow, that's great.
On YouTube live. And then on Facebook, we have over 3,300 people watching. I don't know, I can't see the Instagram right now. And I'm not watching SKTV live. I'm just on the main the main page, SKTV. But it means that the people are engaged, they are involved, and they want to be a part of this conversation. We apologize to all of you that called that couldn't really get through.
Seriously, even some people calling from outside.
If you look at my phone screen right now, I have more than 500 missed calls.
Indeed.
Yeah, so, but maybe we're going to be taking calls anyway. What's going on about it?
Yeah. So quickly before I go there, a lot of times they keep coming from the CPP people from Bapolu, from Grand Cayman. So I don't know how. So, but for me, I'm a bit confused. I don't even know what to say, but people are asking who they can get in contact with because they're listening about it. Like, in fact, they are not getting those or closest maybe people that they want to get in contact with. Or how be it, maybe the team will come up. Maybe next time, I don't know what you can fire to get in touch with the campaign people so that at least they can be able to tell the people where to go, who to talk with, how you can get in contact, and so on. Because the messages and the calls keep coming back to back from Bapolu, Grand Cayman, Lofa, and the rest of the other counties.
Yeah, Mr. Kane, I think what somebody suggested, through text message here, that we, in as much as we can have the post interview or conversation show, but that we should set up a specific show, where people will call in, because it's important to get some of these things out. And sometimes we run out of time. We want to accommodate everybody, but it's hard. We run out of time so that they can have the opportunity, whether they want to express themselves or they want to ask a question that we can keep on record for the next time Mr. Cummings comes around or whatever it is. I think I wanted to bring it up because somebody suggested. I thought it was a good idea. Mr. Cummings, you were muted.
Yes, Steve, it's a good recommendation, and we will look into it.
Yes.
So that we can have Mr. Cummings here. Maybe at least we will ask questions for 30 minutes, and the rest of the time, we open the line both in Liberia and in the diaspora. So at least if we can't take all the calls, we can take 90% or 99% of the calls, which should be really great.
Sure.
Yes. So
I got
okay, go ahead, Steve.
I got 2 calls from 2 women, but I told them we couldn't take the calls. But when we open the line, I just wanted to make sure that I pointed out to you so that at least maybe they can be the first to do the thing.
I already taken a call here. Somebody been calling.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So I want to say good night to you. We gotta go. The next program is right on my back.
That's okay. That's okay. Steve. At least we gotta tell them thank you. It's okay, Steve. Thank you, baby.
All right. So good night from my end, folks. In fact, this is how we like to wind down this broadcast.
Yeah. So let me take this caller here. So 215 number. What is your name and where are you calling from?
Hello, how you doing?
Great. What is your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Emmanuel Mark, and I'm calling from the city of Philadelphia.
Go ahead, Emmanuel.
Okay. My question that I wanted to pose to the candidate was that over the past few months ago, the Vice President of the United States of America went over into African country and engaging African leaders to pass gay rights. And thank God to some countries like Mozambique, like Ghana parliaments and other, they stood on their feet, united themselves, and they said, we will not do such acts because we know what is happening in America since the party passed the gay law, what happened to our children's school. However, I wanted to ask him the question, when it comes to gay rights, when he becomes president, what is his standpoint when a European country asks him to pass the gay rights in Liberia? What is his standpoint?
So since he's not here, what we know, this government recently went into a conference where they signed a gay right document for Liberia. Already, this government, Jovial government already signed up for that.
So that means
so that means we don't know who's going to win the election. We don't know what will be Mr. Cummings' the decision. But when you were asked in Sacramento, he said that is not something he supported. That is not something he actually want to encourage in Liberia. But Jovial government already done that. But thank you so much.
Okay, so just before you go, are you saying the document that Joshua government has signed means Liberia, the two men can get married in Liberia, woman and woman can get married in Liberia? He embraced the idea.
So I don't know. It has been into law, but yeah, they went and signed for it, so they accepted it. Jovial government. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So Steve, go ahead and take your two calls.
Yes, the both of them. I think
we're not going to stay on here.
Yeah, both of them hang up. They said they wanted to ask the question directly to Mr. Cummings. They would do it another time. But here's the issue. Mr. Kennedy, before we leave. Yes, I don't intend to stay long as well. I got something to go do really quick. But here is something I wanted to point out. On my view about the this whole conversation. You know, we've had a lot of conversations here with Mr. Cummings. We have. Today, I saw someone who's ready to not only lead, but has a clear path as to how he wants to lead. There was no, at any point in this conversation where Mr. Cummings had a jitter, feel confused, and so forth. He was clear about what he wants to do, especially zooming in on the private sector and the liberalization. This is a clear core message. It does not need interpretation. You want to go ahead with different things. I mean, it was so clear today that I'm wondering now, you know, why. I mean, this is campaign time now, but in my head now, why Mr. Cummings didn't push them from the get-go like this? But he was very clear today. He was emphatic. Let's be honest. And another thing also that I saw, you know, sometimes you hold people to so much high esteem in Liberia that we can go praise Dangote, praise other business people there, other people there, we or hear them, we look at them big. But when it comes to us who are successful, who've earned their stripes, as we would say, who've done what is right, we ignore them. The fact that Mr. Cummings could openly, willingly sit on this platform and said he is open to suggestion and recommendation as to how to break down this communication of liberalization and you know, private sector speaks volume of a humble man. To be very honest, humble man. And I can say this. I've said this behind closed door to people. I will say it in public again. Let me say this to all of you who are watching. Whether you support Mr. Cummings or not, Mr. Cummings, that big ball. They're not just your typical Liberian. They're not Mr. Cummings, that big ball more than Joseph Boakai, big ball more than Jowia, big ball more than Prince Johnson, big ball more than all of your politicians in Liberia. The facts are the facts. Even Joe Biden knows Cummings. Even Joe Biden knows Cummings. The big people that in the country who make decisions. The only concern I get with Mr. Cummings is he's not flamboyant. You know, he doesn't want to show all of these things. But Mr. Cummings are people, and now you all what they call them from an international standpoint. I just want
to Steve, thank you so much. I mean, this was a great conversation. I think Mr. Cummings has been very much clear. The only difference when the campaign is officially open, you are allowed to say certain things that you can say when the campaign is not officially open. But in terms of Mr. Cummings' knowledge on issues, his control over the what and the how, he has been very clear, to be honest. That's why every platform gave him credit that for being very clear, for being available, for being able to speak to the issue, for understanding the issue, and for having solution to the issue. Even his detractors, his opponents, they always say, Cummings knows the issue, Cummings has the answer, but you know, we're going to vote for Joey at our party. We know Cummings can do the thing, Cummings is able to do everything, but let Mr. Cummings wait for a time. None of them saying Cummings is not qualified. None of them saying Cummings is not the best person for the job. You have all agreed with that, and that is because Cummings has been able to articulate his vision, his policy prescriptions for Liberia. And I think that's why he's getting to where he is right now. Before then, Steve, remember when you and I used to tell the CPP, ANC people that they should keep Cummings in the box. Let him to be himself. Since then, every time Mr. Cummings come on a show, not only SKTV, every time he come on a show, he always wins minds. Caller, what is your name and where you calling from? We're about to leave now. Maybe we're here for another 10 minutes or so. Caller 9004 number, last 3466.
Yeah, salam alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. How you doing?
Yeah, bismillah, you know, give Allah the praise, give God the praise, and thank you guys for the wonderful show. Despite the fact that, you know, the line was jammed and we're not able to put forth our cause, but it was wonderful to see your special guest coming. He's an honorable man. And because, first of all, I'm Mr. Ewan Chebo, calling from Florida.
Okay.
A lawyer, sedition, I owe nobody an apology. First and foremost, Mr. Cummings talked about the harmonization policy. The harmonization policy is working in Liberia, but the Liberians are the problem of themselves. Because they register their business, they take foreigners, they, you know, in the same business, and they don't have signature to their account, and the foreigners using them, they are using their face forward, and the foreigners using their same business. Take example of the Tukafle business. If you go, you see all those businesses are registered in Liberia name, but they are foreigners running it from the back. So it's working in Liberia, but we have to change the more in which how people are bringing the problem to themselves. And you know,
thank you.
And also because of Cummings, the Delta Pharmacy issue, I'm working at Florida right now, and I know that the Coca-Cola gave people the opportunity to rise up within the rank. And because the manifesto of Cummings is history, so we're all going to Coca-Cola to see all what is happening in Coca-Cola. But Mr. Cummings, in Coca-Cola have public affairs where the social responsibility of Coca-Cola, they give towards the society, give towards schools and what have you. But Cummings was not effective in that area. You can part of Coca-Cola and see what's happening here.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Let's go to the caller here. We're about to leave now. Caller, what is your name and where are you calling from? 763 number, last 4 digits 0383. Hello? 763 number, last 4 digits 0383.
Hello?
Yes.
Is this Sekou?
You're live on SKTV. What is your name and where are you calling from? Hello?
That person still listening to the radio.
Yeah. Yeah. So Steve, before we go, let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
Listening to what we listen to right now and listening to the calls in Liberia, did you notice any change or changes?
Yes, I noticed changes.
What did you see?
First of all, I noticed that there were receptive callers to Mr. Cummings as opposed to resistant. Somebody even jokingly wrote on a feed whether Unity Party partisans don't have data today or seditious don't have data today. But here is the truth of the matter. The truth of the matter is Liberian people want change. That is just a fact. Whether they are sedition, whether they support Joseph Human Burger, they want change. Here is another truth of the matter. The truth of the matter also is most of the Liberian people that support Jawia or Joseph Human Burger know and believe, openly behind closed door, that Mr. Cummings is the right person for the work. The only problem with them is they have not given out their loyalty that they pledge to a political party or to a political individual. This is the only problem. This is the conflict they have. They have no problem, no doubt in their minds that Mr. Cummings is able to change the trajectory of the country. He is competent. He has the requisite connections and resources to revitalize the country, to change the country, to take the country to a different dimension. No, there is no argument about that. Nobody can argue that. Their problem is either Mr. Cummings waits for 2029 because they feel entitled that President George Weah must get 12 years, or Mr. Cummings should wait, Joseph Boakai should be president, and then he will take over. This is the only qualms with Mr. Cummings. They don't have any problem with that. So at the end of the day, Mr. Connor, what I noticed today, even in the second day of the campaign, I noticed people are gravitating, changing the mindset, and people are definitely getting onto the message. Because, as evidenced by that, for people to even call and complain that the people are not reaching in Bapolu or in Lofa or whatever it is, this is to tell you that they are open. They just want for the Cummings campaign or Mr. Cummings to reach out to them. That's it. But they're open and they're ready to work and to do what it is. And I will say to the CPP and to Mr. Cummings, this is a good sign, a signal for them. Mm-hmm. The question is, are they able, are they willing, are they ready to exploit this? Are they ready to make sure that they capitalize on this and move forward into this campaign? Because that's the only thing that's going to make the difference. Anything else, it's not. So the people on the ground are saying that, and I like the fact that Cyrus even suggested, part of the things we did in this place for Senator Darius Dillon, for him to be senator today, and when he's misbehaving, wibble wobbling, and talking foolishness with confidence, it pisses some of us off. That ain't here. Because not only that, while Sedition were jumping around with Tomo Fala, and we told them what we were going to do to them, we call family members, we call friends, we put them on hold. Some have never sent money to Liberia for months, for weeks, because of Senator Darius Dillon. We wanted to make sure that they vote his way. Not only that, Mr. Kane, not only that, today, I have friends. Many people don't know. Thomas Fala and my man and they cool. They went to St. Augustine together in Kakata. They know each other. They're not today. So we've broken relationships because we stood with Dillon. So when he opens up in public and says, Cummings PP, it's disgraceful to him because he was elected on the CPP banner. Even if he doesn't want to support the CPP again, that's no problem with that. But to tell you the level of ingratitude that even up to today, when you go to NEC or you go on NEC West Side, he's a CPP senator, whether he likes it or not. It wouldn't change until after his turn, and he gets re-elected as an independent or on United Party or on another ticket, but he is a CPP senator, and he needs to come to reality with that. So the things that we did here in Cyrus, these are strategies that we had behind closed door, enforcing, bring up this strategy in public and say, Mr. Cummings, speak to the people in the diaspora so that they can, prevail on the people back home to vote his way. These are strategies. These are things that were done. And do you know how many all in the diaspora that did that? Do you know how long we stay? Look, like you're sending Martin Pay and other people or not. Even you, Mr. Kane, there's some things we can't just talk in public. We stay up nights, encouraging, talking to people. So, I mean, there's a good strategy. I hope the CPP can capitalize on it. I wish them the best. But this is the time. But I want to say something before we close. We will take our side. Let me tell you something. And we will support that side. We will make the case for that side. And we'll tell you why you must be with that side. We'll take our side. Elections, like Mr. Cummings said, and I'm trying to stay on the fence. We'll take our side. Very soon we'll announce our side. And we'll announce our side. Those of you who've been bouncing around and saying we Cummings PP, with the other people, you ain't see noise. By the time a real, you will start.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. I think we're about to leave now. We're maybe 1 minute we'll get out of here. But this caller here, hold the line. Let me go to the first caller. There just 2 more calls, and then that's it. 651 number. Last 4 digits 7671. What is your name and where are you calling from?
Seko Jackson here, calling from Minnesota, Anoka, Minnesota. Thank you guys for the show. We appreciate you guys for continuously doing the right thing for Liberia.
Thank you.
The show was firing. Thanks to Mr. Cummings for coming. And we want to see him more. We want whoever held in the campaign team, we really need to see them. We really need to see them out there. The people, we can see from the call that the people want Mr. Cummings, but our people out there need to show themselves. You can't be in Bapolo and not showing yourself in Bapolo. You can't be in Kema and not showing yourself. You can't be in Bonkade and not showing yourself. They need to rejuvenate and do everything to support to support the cause of changing Liberia, because we need it. We need transformation for our country, and Mr. Cummings is the face for Liberia today. We know Joseph Boakai is not the face. We know people hiding behind Joseph Boakai to get in power. We know what normally they stand for. We know they don't stand for Joseph Boakai. But we'll continue to preach this message, and the Liberians are getting it. As a matter of fact, yesterday, Joseph Boakai people, girls that in Joseph Boakai group, they call us, telling us that, you know what? We know what's happening now. We will endorse Mr. Cummings, and watch out, you'll see it coming soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sekou.
Thank you so much. Wow. Steve, that one unusual.
Well, Mr. Kane, please don't forget, I know normally I don't talk about it. You can talk about it. Please
hold on.
acknowledge those who contributed today, please.
I will do that. I will do that.
Yeah, because we won't be in situation we can handle.
401 number, last 4 digit 8962. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Rhode Island. This is Bilal Williams.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Sekou, for having me. I'm so impressed today. The number that came out to watch your show was so great. But something came to my mind. I mean, right now, Mr. Cummings, if we love him, push ourselves. So saying he should bring him on the show. That's a cell number over there. We need to contribute. We need to do a fundraising on your show for Mr. Cummings too. I don't know how you take it, but it's just something that came to my mind.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We take everything into consideration. It makes sense. All right. Thank you, my sister. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So Saros, we will take Saros from Liberia for the last time, and then we will call it a day. I think Yasini is also on the line, but Yasini hold the line. Saros, are you still there?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
My man, 1 minute. You already contributed.
Yeah, let me just say this, Chief. You know, I will not stop saying this thing because this is not about Mr. Cummings, like I said. This is not about Mistress Teresa Cummings. This is not about you. This is not about Steve. This is not about Yasini. This is about me. This is about Fred. This is about the disadvantage you. Chief, I've been in the field for 4 months talking to people. The poor quality of my voice is because of what I do. I'm doing this not because of nobody. I'm doing it because of my future, because of the futures of the many youth that are out there who cannot have the opportunity that you people have. Chief, I am asking Mr. Cummings, this message should be conveyed to Mr. Cummings. You need to put the young people, you need to reach out. Like I said, I will openly say this. The campaign team is acting very lazy to reach out. And we are in a campaign period. We do not have any more time. This is the time to act. We cannot be sitting down reluctantly and be behaving that nothing is going on. I even need a time to come on the show and do this. On a serious note, we have to act. Mr. Cummings need to put people out there. We need to work. A lot of people who are inferior, Mr. Cummings. There are 2 of my friends who came to me this morning and we told the entire Banasville estate. Cummings has support us. People know Cummings. They only need people to reach out to them. And
Thank
we
you.
need to do that. The people do not want to send people out there. The time is now.
Thank you.
I am doing it because of me. It's because of the many youth you see out
we got you, Sarah. We have a more time for you on the show. You come on the show, okay?
Thank you so much, and thanks to the people at SKT.
Yeah. So we'll take Yasindi, then we will go to say thank you to people who have been contributing to SKTV. Go ahead, Yasindi Martin Pay.
Thank you so much, Sekou. Let me get myself out the phone. I'm doing just like the way everybody does. So let me take this. Let me turn you on my phone. Okay, now I can come on.
Yeah.
So let me say to Steve and Sekou, great show. Mr. Cummings, as of always, Mr. Cummings is a people-to-people person. He's people-centered. That's how he was able to get to where he got to. He's smart. He's intelligent, he's forthcoming, and he's people-centered. That's the biggest thing that we must, and very innovative. Now, what I would say to all of my brothers and sisters out there, yes, for 5 years, we have dragged one another. For 5 years, some people have shifted from here to there. From 5 years, we have, maybe some of us have even come at each other, plot one another. But there's one thing that we all have done this for. I didn't do it for Cummings. Okay? I did it for Liberia. I do what I do, not for Cummings, but for Liberia. I'm not even doing it for Steve or for Sekou. Like Cyrus says. Cyrus, I heard you.
Mm-hmm.
And like Steve said, we've been saying that. Sriki, we hear you. The young people of Liberia, Jim Morris, we hear you. Benjamin Myers, we hear you. Everybody who have come, yesterday, Steve, you called me and thank you for the call. As a leader, you should be able to listen to the old, the middle ages, and the young people. The young people are very idealistic. They have a lot of energy, and they also believe nothing is impossible because time is on their side and age is in their favor, and they look at things from a risk-taking point. Let me say to you, the tent is open, wide open for Liberia. If your quest is about a better Liberia, for me, I keep saying, let me say this quickly before I go. I went to a funeral where I was at a funeral, at an empty funeral. The young man who came to console us was there when his mother died, and he collapsed. I sat down, and all I could think about, the order I get is, we are too far. We are too far, whether we like it or not. Everything that we know is far. While we're in this people country, while we're in Australia, while we are in Nigeria, all over the place, China, because we cannot access the same opportunity in our country. Whereas we are blessed. I think Mr. Cummings just said to us on the platform, we are not cursed. Liberians are not cursed. Our nation is endowed with natural resources. It's a billions and billions of dollar industry. We only need the right leader who is people-centered and innovative and futuristic thinking. That's what Liberia needs. So simple. Thank you, Mr. Cummings. Make the round. Every time you speak, 2 or 3 people, I got these 5 people in my inbox who just told me, yeah, I align with Mr. Cummings. Listening to him, he makes sense. And those of you who are in Liberia, let me add my voice or the young people voice. This is not about y'all. This is not about showcasing. This is about the future of Liberia. This is about my nieces and nephew who have paid school fee, college tuition, graduated, have no job, and I still have to pay rent for. This is about the young people who we have turned into beggars, poor people who cannot find their way. This is what it's about. This is about what country. And if you are a nationalist, you will not be thinking about a party. I support Mr. Cummings, and that's why I follow you. I've never been a part of any Liberian political fight, and may not be here after. But I believe in people records, people character, people intelligence, and people integrity. Okay? A leader must be, especially a leader like Liberia right now, should be a leader who sees you and meets you where you are. You will not care if you Gio, you Bandi, you Mandingo, you Gravo, you can speak English or Basa. He will meet us where we are and elevate us to where we need to be. And that's where Liberia needs Sekou and Steve and Melbourne. Y'all continue to do what y'all do. We've been on this journey. The Lord will reward us at the right time, at the right moment. So I thank you. And your leaders in Liberia and in America, it's time for everybody to roll up our sleeve. This is not monkey with babu job. Your job is not better than Steve Joy. Your job not better than Sekou Joy. Your job not better than my job. And your security and your family protection is not better than ours. If we believe in this dream, we must fight for it. We must draw the line for it. We must show our face. There's no time to stand on the line. Let me say kudos to Dr. Freeman, a scientist, a renowned scientist with body in his knee. Today, put Mr. Cummings picture on his platform as he supports him. Thank you. Y'all have a good day. Thank you, Steve and Sekou, and bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. So this is the last caller here, 973 number. What is your name and where you calling from? The last caller, please.
Hello.
Hey.
Yeah, there's T.
Hey, T, how you doing? All right, go ahead.
Mr. Cummings, I heard a caller said we should raise money on your show. I don't think, well, I know you know better. I don't think you should use your show to raise any money for any political party. We can settle that separately before they can say you're being biased, before you compromise, because you want to interview other political, where we should. But what I'm going to say, right, that July 26th, when I was sending money home for every my family that I send money to, when I send them the money, I talk to them. But believe it or not, 1 or 2, I would carry the old man. So I asked a question. The old man you're carrying, what have he done for you? Have you seen he have spoken to you? But here you're calling me to beg me for you to buy rice for you and your children to eat for July 26 and to pay your children tuition. I said, I'm not asking you to vote for Mr. Cummings because I like him or whatever. I'm asking so I can stop supporting you as a 30-something-year-old man, 40-something years old man, so you can know where it is to earn a paycheck to bring home to your family and support your family, and for your child to go to school so you can have to beg tuition, so your country can have something called public school, where I grew up with, knowing that when I'm growing up. I said, so it's not about Mr. Cummings. It's about your dignity in your life and the change that needs to come to your country. Change is hard, but you need to do it. And I told them, after I finished talking other things, and they're like, oh, you make sense. I said, I make sense, right? If I get off the phone for you, whether you do it or not, it's on you. We can only talk to these people for so long. And there was a man that was interviewing a grown man who I seen your house. They showed the house. What the station that like KMTV, seen around house. And he said right now that the woman with the banner, and after the woman that they're coming, you maybe in a few round house with no light, no nothing, and no clean water. You talk about you depend on the woman where you haven't seen. But just to go to inauguration to make him president. Why can't even come to you to talk? So our people, we can only talk. It's up to them. And every day me, I'm talking to my family. I'm talking to them. If they make the change, come October 10th, October 10th, that is when my own paycheck to start sending money to people. Right now, I'm done with July 26th. I'm waiting for October 10th before they get any money from me. I'm sorry if people look at it as a disrespect, but that's how I feel. If they don't do the right thing, they can continue with their life. So thank you.
Thank you so much. We say we're living, but certain people that are actually supporters of SKTV, they'll share the show, they contribute financially, always say, so now when they call like that, we can't ignore the calls. That's just the fact. I think this is Gwen Smith. Hello, Gwen, are you there?
Yes, good.
We say we're leaving, though, but when I ignore your calls.
I just put my 2 cents there. I've been listening, relaxing, but I just want to say it.
Go ahead.
But Gwen and I still hold up.
Gwen, I still hold up. The big still hold up. Don't listen to Steve.
Gwen and I still hold up.
That Steve said we're waiting for boss. They don't want to call. Please, if they listening, can you please, just what Sarah said, turn this election over, this campaign over to the youth, because their future is at stake. There are influencers in every community. Find those children, let those children in their community convince other young people. I remember when Barack Obama was running for president, I myself look at Barack Obama on TV. I never thought Barack Obama would have made it to the White House. The young college students, they ran Barack Obama campaign for him to become the president today because their future was at stake in this country. And the big people are in Mr. Cummings campaign, they need to sit down in the back and put the money in front. They shouldn't be the one in front taking the money, no. They should be sitting down in the back, they should be taking the money to the children. Pay the children away, buying the data, buying the gas, buying the food, let us children get on the field. Find the influencers in our community and run this campaign for us. Thank you, people. Myself coming on the ground and soon to run the campaign. I'll be there.
Wow. Steve said you now still hold about you.
I still want to be there. My mom, they play my mom. My pocket boy be there too.
Thank you, Mama. Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. So, let's say again, one last call. I want to say I can't take no more call. Sending people on the call, I can't just, ignore their calls. But let me see here. If this person, what's going on here? Try to put it. Oh, caller, I can't get your son your stuff. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Maybe we just forget about it now. Because somebody called, but can't get them to put it on the speaker. I don't even know who that person is. Well, I think we'll call it a day. Let me say this. Majority of the people, that contributed, saying that no name. However, most of the people contributed, they contributed on Cash App. We have $10, $25, $40 on the other Cash App, and then on the main Cash App, we have $33, $30, $50. We have one person that donated $100, and then $50, and then $10, and then $25. So on the Zelle, a lot of people can donate to SKTV are mostly the usual donors. You don't have a lot of new people. However, on the Zelle, we have $60, we have $25, $40, $25, and $50. But majority of people don't want me to call their name. And some of them say we're donating to thank you for bringing Mr. Cummings on. Some are saying to thank SKTV for what you do for Liberia. Whether the $5 that $1, whatever you contribute to SKTV, we appreciate it. We appreciate it so much. And like I said the last time, you're coming here alone and stick with us for 2 hours, 30 minutes, 3 hours. That means a lot to me. Because, you know, one of the brothers, I call him senior player, Nestor Sandy, he said, integrity. He said SKTV is an integrity platform. And he's not alone. And SKTV is one of the most followed platforms internationally. I challenge any other platform, the calls we receive, the engagement we receive from Liberians in the diaspora. I'm not talking about only America, China, India, South Korea, Australia, Europe, you name it, every day. And people that can call us after the show are more than people that can even call on the show. Sometimes I have to turn my phone off. Sometimes I have to turn my phone off after the show. Some people can still call and say they want to contribute. I have to tell them, say, you are listening to a recording. So we are grateful to you guys. But the only thing is, when we say we're bringing, your political leader in Nigeria, you can come plenty. Some of you will leave now, you will not come back again until Cummings come back. We don't want that. You come all the way, you come always to participate. You come always to participate on the show. It's very, very important. I think the show today, Mr. Cummings, he did well for himself. He did excellent for himself, for his party, and for his supporters. Because if you are there, promoting the message of Cummings, if Cummings himself can't come and add value to what he's telling people, then that's a problem. But Cummings himself, when he comes on the show, people don't want to let him go. He wins mind every time he comes on the show. That's just a fact. Because he understands the issue. He knows exactly what he's talking about. And he telling you the how. Because many politicians will tell you, we will do this, we will do this, we will do that. But this guy will tell you how you're going to do it. Again, our job is to provide the opportunity to both politicians to come make the case and to the listening audience to make your decision based on information. You can't say, I didn't know. If you make the right choice, it's up to you. If you don't, it's up to you. With that said, I love you guys. We love you guys to the moon. Believe me. And sometimes I don't want to come on the show, but because of you people, I can come on the show. And to say, I must give it to Mr. Cummings. People call Cummings TV, NCTV, all kind of name. You know what? It doesn't hurt me. In as much as we have not endorsed any candidate yet, we have never called Mr. Cummings for an interview. He declined. This was on a very short notice. In fact, yesterday he was telling me, but I had to travel tomorrow. We're going to talk, my brother. But anyway, he said, first of all, he said, don't announce it. Maybe I will appear surprisingly. Then he said, you know what? Announce it. Say you guys want me to come, I will come. Liberian people need to hear from me. He said, announce it. If I be late for 15 minutes, that's not going to be the end of the world. That's exactly what he said. If I'm late for 30 minutes, 20 minutes, that's not going to be the end of the world. I can still make it up another time. But you guys want me to come on the show? The campaign has officially started. I will come. I will do it for you and your audience and the Liberian people to tell them what we have in store for them. And he just did it. So I'm very proud of him. The last time, let me say this. No offense, no attack to Justin Yima Boakai. It was announced, there was a post that Joseph Nyimabaga going to appear on Spoon Talk. But before Joseph Nyimabaga came to the show, there was a guy on there who asked tough questions. He was attacked, he was insulted by Mo Ali. And guess what? Because of the fear of responding to questions, tough questions, and responding to the Liberian people, Joseph Baga came there, he spent only 1 minute on the show, maybe 2 minutes, the maximum, and left. When they came to say thank you to Spoon Network, and I said, Cummings has availed himself time without number to speak to the Liberian people, answer tough questions, answer some stupid questions. I would say stupid questions, because people ask any kind of question, but no question is stupid to politicians. But this guy availed himself. I was amused in Sacramento, California. We went to cover Cummings' program in Sacramento, the NC West, Global West. This man stood on his feet for 3 hours, taking questions from Liberian people. Any kind of question you can imagine, they were asked, including that's why I responded to that person who asked whether, in fact, Mr. Cummings support gay rights, or he will support gay rights in Liberia. The man said, this is one of the stupidest questions that have been coming to me all the time. I'm not gay. I have my wife, I have my kid, I have my grandkids. And I do not subscribe to that idea. And I will not support or encourage that idea in Liberia. He said it on the show. You tell the live at the town, on the town hall. But yet, people that have no idea, have no policy, they have nothing to provide to the Liberian people, they will always engage, refer to that all the time, because they got nothing to argue against the men. That's just a fact. People who always refer to this whole issue, idea of gay this, gay that, they are people that got no clue, no idea what to say. They can be speechless when they listen to the guy. So they can be angry, they can be agitated, because they are bankrupt with idea. Their candidates are unable to come and make the case. They do not have the energy, they do not have the technical know-how and understanding and experience to tell the Liberians what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. So because of that, every time Cummings comes home, they feel angry, they will come and bring jargon, bring nonsense, just to make him feel bad, make his supporters feel bad. Trust me, if you're a Cummings supporter, you should be proud of yourself. The guy is a real deal. This is not an endorsement, but this guy knows exactly what he's talking about. I appreciate all of you. We appreciate your support, as always. We'll be here tomorrow. We'll be here tomorrow. Let me see if I can play the song, Cummings song again. Possible.
Bati, glow, you are Bati, 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 Elizana Cummings, Bati, Bati. Zekwe, Zekwe, CPP, Zekwe, 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 Charlie Broski, Zekwe, Zekwe. I want, hey, za. Party, see party, party house. Stand up the rock, stand up the rock, stand up the rock. Well. Who you want? My Liberian people, who you want? Our market women crying, who you want? Our Ghana boys are crying, who you want? Handkerchief. Take out your white handkerchief. Let's go. Everybody sing go far. Whoa. Look back at the say that coming where we want. But me can't come in where we want. Very like that coming where we want. Nima can't come in where we want. Basa can't that coming where we want. Get my can't that coming where we want. Papa, we I said that coming where we want. Regular can't that coming where we want. My Liberian people, who you want? Musa Belete, I say who you want? Mama Teresa Cummings, who you want? I am Lele Mona, how you want? Ah, well. CPP, oh yeah, oh yeah. Adabe. Oh, ANC Global, oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh, oh. Mommy can't tell who you want. Papa can't tell that who you want. Sana can't tell that who you want. Rebel G can't tell that who you want. I am Lele Yakula who you want. And Butterwell who you want. If I join your party that fall, now why your colors be? I think your colors be with everybody. My Liberian people who you want. My Yana boss who you want. My girl women that who you want.